What is up, internet? It is Friday, September 6th, day number 53 inside the Big Brother house. Another wild split vote took place last night. What a season it has been. Only just starting jury. Who won HoH? Who are the targets? And let me tell you, I want you to know, I will move mountains for you. I will extinguish the sun. I will swallow glass. I will fart thunderstorms, okay? There is nothing we can't do together. Let's talk about that, plus all the intel, drama, and more from yesterday's live feeds. But first, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button. You like this video, hit that like button. Hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. We are live here on Friday. If you're unfamiliar, we go live on Fridays. We talk about everything that went on the live feeds the night before, just like we do every morning here on this channel. But afterwards, we jump into the chat and talk to you guys, and we're going to have a good time. To give you guys a little recap, though, as we jump on into the update, you haven't been keeping up this week. Quinn won HoH. He nominated Angela, Chemo, and Rubina as his OG noms. His target being Angela, but Leah wins veto, using it on Angela despite Quinn's desperate pleas for her not to. He ended up putting up Joseph as the replacement nominee. And let's start with pre-show feeds. Before anything even happened on the episode, we were leaning towards things looking like Joseph being fairly safe. In the morning, lots of studying of the AI videos from the night before, which were indeed for the HoH competition later. And after the chat that took place in the HoH room, you had MJ, Chelsea, Cam, Quinn, and who was the fifth one in there? Leah. After the chat they had in the HoH the night before, it seemed like who's that we got coming on in? DMG ENT Group. Thank you for coming on in and hitting that sub button. Guess what? We now have a secret alliance. Shh. Don't tell anybody. Why does that also sound like a conglomeration? Am I in an alliance with a corporation? Is that did I just form an alliance with a corporation? Maybe. Also, trust the process. Trust the process. Let's go, Sixers. Big Eagles game tonight. Thank you for coming on in, hitting that sub button. Me and you, we now have a secret alliance. Shh. Don't tell anybody. Where was I here? Let me get my notes back up. So we kind of assumed going into the episode that Joseph was kind of safe. They all kind of agreed that Rubina would probably be the safest because in all scenarios, it seemed like Chemo was going to be going this week, whether it was up against Rubina, and if she was up against Joseph, if Rubina and Joseph were the nominees, it seemed like Joseph would stay. At the very least, it seemed like it would be close, but leaning towards Joseph staying over Chemo. That was kind of where we went in the morning. And on the pre-show feeds, we even got more confirmation that it seemed that it would be that way. We saw Angela, Chelsea, and Leah meeting up for a conversation. They went over the pros and cons of the potential vote. And Angela was actually pushing for Chemo to stay over Rubina even. She was really trying to get Chemo to stay this week. But it did eventually seem that the votes were falling on Chemo leaving no matter what, and Rubina being over Joseph to leave. If it came down to that, it seemed like Joseph was going to be safe. Angela even got very emotional about this in the storage room before the episode, crying, saying that, Rubina is sneaky and that Chemo can't lie like she does. He tells her the truth. So she was already struggling with this vote, but she eventually told Leah, she's like, I just want to be on the right side of the vote. Oh boy, maybe that's some foreshadowing there. Let's jump into the episode, because the recap section of the episode, where we went over how we got to this point after the veto ceremony, really there was nothing too much of note, other than they did highlight the heavy petting situation with MJ, Cam, and Chelsea and all that drama. We then got into the real main event of the evening, the AI Arena. It was the double eviction competition, the veto one from BB Can and from BB24, where Michael was evicted, where you had to untangle yourself from all these ropes that were wrapped around this giant structure, eventually to get enough slack where you could go reach the podium and kind of plug in your cord. Joseph tangled himself up more than how he started. He ended up falling over. He pretty much hog-tied his legs to the structure and just kind of fell backwards. He was a real mess in this whole thing. Rubina, she was doing pretty well, but she was fell short of the podium twice. But eventually on her third time, it seemed like she was going to have enough slack, but Chemo was right on her tail, it seemed like. We learned later Chemo said he didn't have enough slack, so she was going to win anyway, but it did seem like, oh no, it's actually coming down pretty close, and Rubina plugs in, winning the AI Arena. Tucker's cheers could be heard from the moon while he was watching at home, and that took us to a vote of Joseph versus Chemo, and it seemed easy enough, right? We talked about how they had gone over the votes, and it seemed like, yeah, Chemo just was going to go. This was actually the one we were probably most confident about going in, that it would end up being about a 5-2 vote with T-Core and Rubina voting to keep Chemo, but everybody else voting out Chemo. And it seemed that way. But then MJ votes for Joseph after a very long pause in the diary room. She really kind of thought about it and took in the decision, and then eventually she said Joseph. Angela said in the diary room, she's like, Chemo, I want to keep you, but I don't have the numbers. And she votes to evict Chemo. And we're like, okay, then it all seems normal. MJ was just throwing a hinky vote, I guess. That's interesting. Then Chelsea, the deciding vote of the evening in a 3-3 tie, votes Joseph, sending him packing pre-jury in another shocking flip vote this season. I didn't expect it to come. Quinn definitely did not expect that. He was devastated. His jaw was on the floor. He eventually just started crying. He was so upset that this all took place. He just couldn't believe what had happened. Julie ended up telling us, though, that jury has started. Then Ainsley ended up telling the rest of the house they made jury, and that AI Arena was officially over. And I just want to touch on that real quick. We'll talk about this more when we chat with everybody else, because I want to hear your thoughts on it as well. I liked the AI Arena. I just felt like it went on for a few too many weeks. It brought a lot of the chaos this season, and maybe that chaos was because the noms weren't locked on eviction night. Maybe that's something that we can look forward to happening more often in the future. But I think relying on the comps for that, especially in the jury phase, it just seemed too much. And it's also kind of funny to me because I think a lot of people are really praising the AI Arena and they're loving it so much. These are also probably a lot of the same people who were talking about how the comps were, too inequitable, but they love this twist. And I think, yes, the comps have been different this season, and we've had a lot of different winners, and that's helped. But a lot of the comps aren't exactly new, right? Like, these are really kind of classic Big Brother comps. They're just doing a better mix of playing the hits than the ones that involve a lot more of kind of like physical moving around. They're doing things that are a little bit more fair, right? But it's not like they've invented brand new comps for this season. And I feel like if we had AI Arena on almost any other season where the comp layout wasn't as even as it was, or if we had a season with a big alliance that was kind of steamrolling, dominating, the AI Arena would kind of ruin the season, if I'm being honest. I think it may have gone on a little too long in a normal season. I just want backdoors back, right? Like, I want your social game to matter the most in the pre-jury. I'm just kind of a purist in that way. I think your social game should be your main focus in the beginning of the game, then halfway through around this time, right? Once the jury phases starts, that's when you have to focus on winning a lot of competitions. With this, it felt like competitions always mattered a lot. And I don't know, it's just my thought. We'll get into more of your guys' thoughts in the chat in a little bit here as well. But think about it. I want to hear what you guys think. Post-eviction, pre-HoH feeds returned last night, and I love when we get these, especially with the AI arenas, and they had a build up for the HoH. I don't know now if we will continue getting these for the rest of the season as we wait for the HoH competition to start. A lot of times they're able to start that much quicker, especially now that they don't have to do a build for the AI arena, but we'll see. And during that time, we saw Chelsea telling Leah that Chemo's speech was actually a big reason why she changed her mind. I don't think that's it, only because MJ went along with it too. Apparently, MJ also told Angela to vote Chemo before the vote, but didn't. So I'm not 100% sure how much the speech actually changed minds, or how much they're just saying that just because they had to say something with Chemo to be like, you really got us to flip for you. Leah, she really kind of worries that Chemo's going to end up putting her up. But Chelsea says, you don't have to worry about that. He would put up Cam and Quinn. That's why they're all freaking out right now. Leah also says Chemo won't go up anymore, right? Like, now that he's not, he's off the block, who's going to put him up? He's just not going to be on the block every week. Whereas Joseph, if he would have stayed, he would be on the block every week. He would be that person people would go after. Chelsea says, well, if I win, I would put him up. Maybe some foreshadowing there. Cam ended up telling Quinn that it was Chelsea and MJ who flipped. He was informing them. And this was kind of funny because we didn't get to see all his conversation. We just see Cam being like, yeah, it was Chelsea and MJ. And Quinn was shocked. Like, another like, why would they do this? To immediately they cut to MJ and T-Core just dancing. We made jury. We made jury. It was maybe my favorite like feed Skippy moment where they cut at the perfect time just to get that MJ T-Core dance as they were whispering, singing in the hallway. It was great. Now Chelsea, she told T-Core that she didn't know MJ was voting for Chemo, and she still, had to keep him just because that's who, follows where her heart is, right? Like she really wanted to keep Chemo for that. And again, I don't know if I buy that. If it's true that Chemo's speech just really hit with both Chelsea and MJ, which I'm not putting out of the realm of actual possibility. It could be that's why they made the decision. That could be why MJ took so long in the diary room. Wow. This season just keeps on giving. These players are all emotional players when it comes down to it. Yes, they do things that are strategic, but man, it makes for a fun season. I've said it before. I feel like, yes, watching a huge, crazy, strategic mastermind work their magic in the game is great, but you need somebody who's entertaining while doing it, right? There's been plenty that were, really good and good players, but they're not the icons that you really want. They're not from the seasons that really, really hit. The ones that really hit are filled with emotional, messy players. Look at BB10. You had Dan, who was a strategic mastermind, but look at that cast around him, just filled with emotional, wild players that brought out the fun in that season. So yeah, if it's true that Chemo's speech really turned them, wow. Chelsea also told Quinn she still wants to work with him, even though with this whole flip, she's pretty sure that, he's good. She wants him in her top 5 even, she said. He's like, I'm pretty sure I'm getting sniped, right? Like, that's great, but I'm pretty sure I'm done for. And he's like, when I get the jury, I'm pushing for you to win, right? Like, well, you're gonna be the one I'm hyping up. And we'll get more about a convo with them later that I thought was interesting. The feeds went down, though, for HoH, and when they came back, we learned it was questions based on the AI messages from the night before. I believe there was 40 exactly, and it came down to a tie, and it was a tiebreaker between Chemo, Cam, MJ, and Chelsea. Now, from what I've heard, is Chelsea tried to go low on the tiebreaker, and she just kind of wanted to throw it. At least that's what she's saying. Meanwhile, everybody else went ridiculously high, and Chelsea wins HOH by mistake. She is your HOH this week while trying to throw it, apparently. Oh, Lord. Her first 101 was with Cam, and I kind of expected this to be a very straightforward, easy conversation for the two of them. And, why wouldn't it? They're really great allies, right? There's no way that she would basically threaten to put them on the block, right? Well, it starts off smooth enough where he's suggesting, Chemo and Angela as the easy noms, saying that you could take out Angela this week. Then, in what he assumes is going to be a double eviction, we could take out Chemo following that. He also says Leah could be an option you could put up as a possible renom. And Chelsea says she's worried about numbers, especially because he threw out Rubina as well and said Leah's an option, but if you put her up, she might not get voted out. And Chelsea points out, she's like, wait a minute. You're telling me that Leah was most likely to put me up on the block, and you won't vote to evict her. And she points out, how does that make sense? And she feels like Cam would even pick Leah and MJ over her in situations. And she goes, you know what? Why don't I just put you and Leah up, Cam? Why don't I just put the two of you up together? She's a little bit blinded by jealousy here, folks. Just a tiny bit. Now, I do kind of see her point, right? Where she's almost using it as a power play, right? On Cam to be like, don't go choosing MJ and Leah over me now. We've been working since day one. We were in the core with Cedric. Then we had the Pentagon. Now you're going to go choose Leah and MJ over me? Slow down. Meanwhile, Cam's like, no, I'm just trying to tell you, if you put Leah on the block, yeah, do I think she's already going to probably put you up? That could be a thing. But if you put her on the block, that's definitely going to be a thing. And she's not going to get voted out this week. So why take the shot at her if she's not going to leave? At the very least, you can try and be like, hey, Leah, I will not put you up on the block this week. I'm not doing it. Show me that respect, right? And you might not get a yes from it, but that's where Cam was trying to come from with it. In fact, I would almost say that Cam was a little bit more logical and sensical in the conversation with who I would say is probably the best player in the game. Cam, who we barely talk about, was making more sense than Chelsea. Just a bit. Because I see where she's coming with the whole Cam, connections that he has to them. But he's got Chelsea's back. He's not going to take MJ or Leah over Chelsea. As far as I can tell, he is committed to them as being a final two. He's going far with Chelsea. I don't think he would choose them over her. But she's blinded by that a little bit. She's blinded by that jealousy of MJ rubbing his head, and she thinks that Leah and Cam still have this really close bond since he was telling her stuff earlier in the game. So I don't doubt her for thinking it. It's just one of those things where she's just a little bit clouded and blinded by previous things that are going on. So I understand the position, but man, it was something else when I heard her say, why don't I put you and Leah up on the block? I'm kind of here for it. If she ended up putting him on the block, he said it, I'd be going home, and it would be kind of interesting just to see the third pawn end up going home from an ally of them as HOH. It would be pretty interesting, but I don't think she's going to be going that way. Now, she ended up having a one-on-one with Chemo next. She kind of tells him, I kept you because you deserved it, and I want to have people around who have my back. And he says, I want to protect you as much as possible. As much as possible? That's the best you can offer? Okay. She asked for a name, who's been throwing my name around? Who do you think would throw me up on the block? And he's like, he didn't give one. He's like, I haven't heard your name. Haven't heard it once. You're not helping yourself here, Chemo. She doesn't promise him anything. And she's looking at Angela as the nominee, but she's not sure who the other would be just yet. So read between the lines there, Chemo. It's not looking good for you there, buddy. Angela was up next, and, she said she doesn't want to be a pawn. She's done it 4 times already. There's others that haven't been on the block yet, aka T-Core and Leah. She doesn't say that, but that's the only people who haven't been up yet. She offers, the deal she gave Leah, where she's like, moving forward, if you want to vote, I'll be with you. You'll have 2 votes in that scenario. So she kind of gives that to Chelsea now. She was doing everything she could to try and guilt trip Chelsea as well. She brought out the Nana card, where she's like, I just don't want to go to jury because I have sad grandkids at home who won't be able to watch me for a long time because I won't be on the TV. They're going to be sitting there crying, Chelsea. Do you want to make my grandkids cry? Is that what you want to do, Chelsea? Unbelievable. Eventually we got MJ and Chelsea having their one-on-one. Chelsea tells her she's safe no matter what. She's not hitting the block. She says she wants to protect MJ, Cam, and T-Core this week. MJ says actually she would put T-Core up. She's like, listen, that's cool with you. You can protect T-Core, but if it was me, I'd put T-Core on the block. And she's like, I get it though. We're playing different games. You got to do what's best for you. She's like, but I'd put her up. That would just be me. She actually later in the night ended up saying that her actual plan would be to put up T-Core and Chemo, then have a backdoor on Quinn. So that would have been an interesting development there as well. But Chelsea does actually push for Leah as someone who would have voted her out over Cam, and that Leah is not someone who would fight for them. So she was laying those seeds with MJ that Leah could be a potential good nominee, and MJ didn't push back. She didn't push back at all. We got a one-on-one with Rubina next. Chelsea tells her she wants to keep her and T-Core off the block this week. And then Rubina actually says to her, Chemo and T-Core and I, like, we have your backs. Yes, paint the picture that you guys are a trio even more. This is fine. There's nothing wrong with this. And Chelsea's like, I'm kind of leaning Chemo, and she's like, well, we got your back, right? Like, we're there for you. The 3 of us will have you. Probably not the best idea to be doing that, Rubina. Now, next up we had Quinn. Chelsea tells him that she doesn't want him up on the block and she'd like to see him stay. If she couldn't win, she'd actually like to see someone like him win, someone who this would change their lives. And kind of an interesting little side note. She talked about how, this would change his life and it would mean a lot for him. Quinn told Leah later that apparently Chelsea noticed like the marks where he gave plasma and he was like donating plasma for money. So like Chelsea, I guess, thinks he's like way worse off than he is. And he told Lee, he's like, yeah, I'd be fine. I just move in with my parents or something. So Chelsea's like kind of convinced that Quinn's like a charity case pretty much. All because he donated plasma. You can't make some of this stuff up. I'm telling you, it's wild. Anyway, she tells him that she would like to see him win if it couldn't be her. Quinn tells Chelsea, I feel the same way, right? Like, this is another one. You can't write this stuff. He says, if I couldn't win, I would want it to be someone who I could say, of course I lost to them. They're sick nasty. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I feel like the diary room have been telling Quinn, keep up with the sick nasty. People are loving that as a catchphrase. Because he's kept this thing up. It is staying. He also says to her, and I don't disagree, that Chelsea is the most similar to Danielle Reyes on their season. And listen, she's not at the level of Danielle Reyes, but I've even made that comparison before myself, and she is by far, I think, the best player in the house. Just don't mess up the situation up, Chelsea. Don't do it. Please don't do it. I've already jinxed a lot of people this year. I don't want to jinx you. Just don't mess this up. We then got the Chelsea Leah one-on-one. Leah says that any of the negative feelings and stuff that was going on between her and Chelsea was actually more because of Tucker than anything else. And Tucker was telling her that Chelsea had said all these bad things about Leah. She keeps saying that, she has to keep in mind, Leah said to Chelsea, that you have to keep in mind people like herself who wouldn't put her up, right? Again, herself, MJ, Quinn, doesn't necessarily mention Cam. And what's interesting, though, is this conversation went on for a long time, as the Leah conversations do. But it almost seemed to work on Chelsea. It felt like Chelsea actually became more comfortable with Leah during this convo. And then I started to second question and guess myself, is Leah the best player in this game right now? I'm just throwing it out there as a possibility if she stays off the block this week. Proof's in the pudding. So yeah, it seems like Chelsea is kind of okay with Leah at the moment. She does, though, give her the same line she says to Quinn, which this also could be very strategic and purposeful. He tells Leah, I want you in my top 5. Now, maybe that is just because she knows Quinn and Leah are going to talk, so she wants the two of them saying, like, yeah, like, Chelsea likes us both. That could be the case. Or Leah did a good job at convincing Chelsea, like, hey, you have some doubts about me, but we're good. T-Core. The T-Core was next up to have the one-on-one. This actually came after Chelsea got her HoH room. So they were actually in there hanging out. And Chelsea just goes straight to it. And she says, listen, it's got to be Chemo that goes up. She would put Leah up as a replacement nominee, and she would consider Quinn, but she can't just put up Quinn and Leah right now. Especially initially, because if both of them end up staying, if one of them wins the power of veto, and, I have to put Chemo up or Angela up anyway, and they both end up staying this week, I've got Quinn, Leah, and Cam all coming for me. So, T-Core, I need you to know I'm putting up Angela, I'm putting up Chemo, but I need your help with Chemo. Like, you have to make sure that he knows, like, this is just as a pawn. And T-Core just kind of gives her, right, right. No real feedback at all. Now, Chelsea does talk about, like, listen, Angela's the target, and, again, if veto's used, Leah can go up. We can consider Quinn. At worst, if Chemo is up there, if Angela were to come down, and it's Leah up there, it would be, at worst, a split vote. And then Chelsea would break the tie, and then Chemo would be safe. So T-Core just kind of agrees, right? She pushes back a little bit and keeps kind of bringing up that, Quinn could be an option as renom, but Chelsea kind of shuts that down, saying that, Quinn says he has both of our backs and trusts the two of them a lot. So T-Core just kind of lets it go. And she says, yeah, you know what? That makes sense, with lots more of Chelsea even then later on filled in Cam and then others like Quinn and Leah that it was going to be Angela and Chemo as her nominees. All of them are pretty good with that. She says she doesn't even care who leaves. Let it be up to you guys. You can figure it out. But those would be who I would put up as the initial nominees. T-Core lets Chemo know that it's likely him as well and explains why with, the votes and how they wouldn't be there for Leah with people like Cam and Quinn protecting her. And there wouldn't be the votes for possibly even Quinn. And then they could end up staying. And then she's got people coming after her. And she really does this kind of casually with Chemo, who's just learning just devastating news that he's going to be on the block again for the second week in a row, whether it's as a pawn or not. And we've seen that pawns go home and he was one vote away from going home this week. So he's receiving devastating news. Meanwhile, T-Core's like, yeah, it's no big deal, right? And just kind of ignores all the red flags from that convo with Chelsea. If I was T-Core having that conversation with Chelsea, I would start wondering what's going on here. Why is she not putting up Leah? Why is she not putting up Quinn? Why would Cam be mad at her? Do they have a final four? What about MJ? There's so many other options here, Chelsea, but you got to put up chemo? I would start wondering these questions, but yet it seems like T-Core is just trusting in Chelsea because she's full on misted. She didn't even go into all the stuff that she planned to tell Chelsea about Quinn, which she then later in the night talked with Rubina and Chemo about how they can try and push for Quinn to be the potential renom if they need that in a situation. I almost bet that conversation will never happen because that's what they do. They like to have these talks and they never talk about it. But yeah, that pretty much kind of covers everything that's going on. Chelsea won HoH. She's looking at Angela and Chemo as her nominees at the moment. Things could change before the nomination ceremony this morning. But for now, it does seem like it will be Angela and Chemo who are up on the block. Now, we can jump into the chat here in just a second, and I want to hear your thoughts about, the nominations, potential renoms. Do you think this is a good idea? For the most part, I actually don't think it's terrible. If it was me, I would just be putting up two of the trio to guarantee that one of them would be leaving this week. I don't think Angela necessarily is a huge priority at the moment. Yes, people are going to drag her to the end, but I think you have to worry about numbers and stuff like that. Let's jump into our allegiance map for the day. And some stuff has changed. I've got Queen Chelsea all the way up at the top. She is chilling way up there. In fact, even if she didn't win HoH, this is probably how the map would look. And she almost shouldn't have won HoH this week. If anyone else in the house won the HoH this week, they were not coming after Chelsea. And I think you guys all know how I feel about people winning HoHs that they shouldn't win. But sounds like she might have tried to throw it and just kind of won it accidentally. She's in a position here where she can set herself up great, though, for the end game. And I think what she really has to watch out for is the trio of T-Core, Rubina, and Chemo. That is just too strong of numbers. Look how many people are left in this house. If you get rid of Angela, if you get rid of Leah even, especially if you get rid of Leah, well, it's 3-on-3 and Chelsea would have to choose a side, and she's not going against Cam. And then the trio are always going to save each other when they're in situations. You're giving T-Core basically two shields in this game that will never put her up on the block. Chelsea, if you don't get rid of one of the trio this week, I feel like you're giving the game to T-Core a little bit. But there's still a lot of game to go, and there's lots of different decisions in it, but I do think putting Angela and Chemo up probably is the best move at this moment. If you're not getting rid of one of the trio, the only other person that is an option would be Leah, because then you're making sure that Quinn is more connected to you. That's one less person for Cam to kind of go over to. So I can understand why that would be her situation, but then you're also kind of planting your flag firmly on that side of the house. Because at least if you get rid of Chemo, guess what, Chelsea? You got a nice little group where you can go with T-Core and Chemo. And now you're part of that trio if you really wanted it that way. And the way you can set that up is Angela and Chemo up on the block going, yeah, I want Angela gone. I want Angela gone. Uh-oh, Chemo left. Not my fault. And you can kind of get away with it almost scot-free this week if you're smart about it, Chelsea. But yeah, very interesting here how all the dynamics are going. This is kind of how I see it at the moment. Chelsea at the top, T-Core like below her, like way below her, but probably the next like most insulated, social credit, rich player in the game. Underneath, I actually kind of have Cam, only because there's so many other people that people would take shots at before him. MJ, Leah, Quinn, I feel all would be people who would end up going before Cam would end up going. Even though people seem like they have a little bit of a trust in MJ, they have a little bit of a trust in Leah, even with the Girls Alliance thing. I don't think that's going to happen this week, especially with Angela potentially going up on the block. She's going to just blow up that whole thing, right? So that's going to be interesting on its own. But I feel like Cam has a lot of other people that would be looking at other places. Plus, he's very connected with Chelsea. Chelsea's kind of watching out for him. People know if they take a shot at Cam, they're kind of taking a shot at Chelsea as well. So he feels like he gets elevated in this as well. Just underneath there, I have Rubina, MJ, and Quinn all on similar levels. I feel like Rubina is the Quinn of her side, where people are kind of okay if she has to go up as a replacement nominee, but there's also people that are kind of looking out for her. Same thing with Quinn, where a lot of people would be pushing as her as a potential nominee, but she's also got people that are looking out for him, like Cam and Chelsea, and even kind of Leah and MJ at this point as well. I don't think necessarily would go after Quinn, though MJ did say she would potentially backdoor Quinn if it was her HOH, and even maybe next week would backdoor Quinn if it was her HOH as well, especially if Angela was gone this week. So that would be a very big reason why Quinn would want Angela actually to stay this week for once, but I'm not sure he's fully aware of that. And then just under them, I have Chemo and Leah, and I feel like they are very similar on either side of the house as well, where Chemo is just going to get thrown up there as the replacement nom even before Rubina, and same with Leah. She would get thrown up as the replacement nom on her side of the house before anybody else as well. And then Angela, just barely above sea level there, just kind of chin dipping in the water. And that's kind of how I see the house at the moment. One more thing that we can do before we jump into the chat as well. I have gone and I have updated our draft leaderboard here. So this is all up to date, up to the current HOH Chelsea. So these are the standings as we have it now. What is that? Omar Diddy. He is number one on the leaderboard with his team of Chelsea, T-Core, and Tucker at 40 points. Checkers and Wreckers, good for you, buddy, in second place with Cam, Chelsea, and Tucker. But you are also tied there with Haley, Madison, and TC with 38 points. And then we have Amy Jo would be the technical third place with all those second place ties there with a team of Chelsea, Joseph, and Tucker. One thing you will notice, though, a lot of these top teams, Tucker, all the way down. It's Tucker all the way. Tucker was carrying these teams. Tucker's gone. He's not getting any more points now. So a lot of these teams do have some other good players on their board. You got Chelsea, T-Core, Cam. You got Chelsea and Joseph. Cedric, he's gone. This team's not looking great. MJ is still in there as an option to win a lot. So there's good players on these teams, but losing Tucker is a huge disadvantage at this point, especially in the draft. Points are doubled for competitions in the jury phase. So Chelsea winning her second HOH in the jury does get her that post-jury comp win, which ups her score even more. And everybody else, the way the competitions have been going, they've been so spread out. It feels like it's anybody's season this year, especially with all these Tucker votes. We also have here our board. Tucker was the second highest vote getter and second highest picked player in the entire draft. So now that Tucker is gone, that is a big opening for a lot of people. If Cam ends up leading, he was the top pick for many people. That could bust a lot of teams out as well. So it would be interesting to see how this all plays out. But we have updated the draft. There is Link in the description of the stream. You can go check that out. It's going to be in all the video descriptions as well. We'll have a pinned comment there as well afterwards. But yeah, that pretty much covers everything that I have to cover. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. We are going to jump into the chat here, talk to you guys, see how you are feeling about everything that's playing out. What did you think of the eviction last night with Joseph going? What do you think of Chelsea winning HoH? And what do you think of her nomination plans of Angela and Leah? Let's talk about it. How you guys doing? I see you all there. We got IR Geek, Michelle, Anna, Tiozu, Chris, Marie, Eddie, PT, Laura. Yes, fly, Eagles, fly. Huge Eagles game tonight. Technically, it's the home opener, but it's in Brazil. It's a thing. We lost a home game. We don't even get to wear green, but then Green Bay's wearing green. Who even knows what's going on anymore? But the Eagles are going to fly tonight. Let's see what you guys are saying. Take Angela up on her offer. Use the vote. I agree. I'm surprised Chelsea didn't know to break up the trio unless she plans to join them. What do you think about Chelsea saying those humiliating things about Cam on the live feeds? I'll be honest, it's a little funny. It's a little funny. I kind of enjoy when she does it. Let's see here. We'll move this over here. Where are we at? Some coffee. Also, we have a new mug. As you guys can see here, we have the Ori World Order mug. Yeah, I got merch now. It's a thing. Now listen, don't anybody go buy this mug. It's completely pointless to buy this mug. I don't even think I have the link posted anywhere. But you could. If we can come up with some good ideas. I want to come up with some cool designs, maybe for some shirts, maybe for some mugs, some hats, stuff like that. Somewhat BB related. I have a few ideas, but if you guys have any thoughts on things you would like to see, maybe we could put something together. Because we have the ability to do it. We have the ability to do it. Let's see here. I'm glad I didn't draft a 17th house guest. Yeah, a lot of people did. They went for that bet of the unknown house guest, and it has burned them in the end. Good morning, Ori. Stayed with you last night. Tucker has the vote for America's favorite. I kind of agree with that, Edie. Chelsea doesn't want to lose a jury vote in T-Core, which is why she's only aiming for chemo. 100%. That's another thing that Chelsea has to be careful with here. And we'll pull up our allegiance map here just so you guys can have something to look at too. Chelsea does have to worry about jury votes, which is also, again, another reason why, hey, you know what? Maybe this HoH wasn't the best idea for her to win. Because now you're taking a shot at the first jury member, and that's a tough spot to be in. That's somebody that could be very bitter for the rest of the game. And when you leave a jury member in there that's just super bitter, everybody who comes in is going to be hearing how awful your game was. But if you send Angela first, maybe people won't actually listen to Angela, right? Angela would go in there. She might say some bad things about Chelsea, but who's really going to care about Angela's opinions on who should win? Angela needed to go before jury. Very unpredictable juror. 100% unpredictable. You have no idea where her vote would end up going. I think the only thing you can guarantee is she wouldn't vote for Quinn. That's the only thing you can guarantee from Angela. Go back, go. Oh, no, Lonnie. No cheesehead action in here. Fly, Eagles, fly, baby. Joseph who exactly, right? Just the star of the show got evicted last night. That's all. Someone needs to bust up the trio. Chelsea didn't need to win, but good for her. We need some Oreo shirts. You might have coffee, but jeet. I cheated, Stan. I did. Chelsea hasn't been protecting T-Core, right? No. So, I mean, yes, right? She's not putting her up on the block, but it's not like Chelsea is really thinking long term with T-Core. She was talking to MJ about, hey, MJ, you and HoH, go for T-Core. You do it. She doesn't want to take that shot, which is also why I think she wants to keep Quinn around. I think she wants Quinn to end up taking that shot. Even though he talks about trusting T-Core, I feel like Chelsea knows Quinn would eventually be able to take that shot for her if he's still in the game. So I think that's kind of her plan with it. She doesn't want to be directly the one to kind of cause it. And I really do think, right, if the nomination stayed the same and they decided, yeah, you know what, let's just get out chemo this week, break up that trio, I think she'd be okay with it, right? She wouldn't be upset if that's how it turned out. Joseph's going to be shocked with how little he was on the show. Rob and I agree the trio needs to be broken up. I do agree. I'm 17th in the draft. Woohoo. Too bad Brooklyn and Tucker won't gain me any more points. Oh, no. That is a rough spot to be in. I would put up T-Core, Chemo, and Quinn if anyone comes down. Need one that says Oreo's Secret Alliance. I think that's a good idea. I like that. Maybe one that just literally says, like, shh, we have a secret alliance. Maybe that would be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if Cam gets to the end at this point, Cam and Angela. That would be an interesting final two. That'd be a very interesting final two. I would like to be a fly on the wall watching Joseph watch this back. He's in for an interesting realization on his standing in the game. If Vito won, take Angela off the block and backdoor T-Core, says Dolores. Oh, I like the way you think. I don't think Chelsea would do that, though. If anything, I think it would be Rubina of the trio to go up if they wanted to guarantee to break up one of the trio. Or it would be Leah, who would end up being the replacement. Let's see. I think they will all be bitter, maybe? Bitter? Either one. I agree. Good morning. Thank you for the live feed update. Just Jesse, I appreciate that. Let's see. Where are we? Chemo and Angela with us, will us all to death if they're at the end. Oreo's Secret Alliance shirts, love it. I'm sad the AI is gone. That's a good question to bring up as well. What did you guys think of the AI arena twist this season? Do you like what it brought to the game? Do you, like I think maybe it stayed a little bit too long? I think 4 weeks would have been good, and then have regular Big Brother come into play. Though it did take a little while for it to actually gain steam and kind of do what I think they wanted it to do, where it caused kind of a double eviction style vote scramble. We only saw those in the later weeks. The first few weeks were pretty straightforward as far as who would be going home, even if whoever won AI Arena, there was multiple targets that people had. So it wasn't until later on when that kind of really worked. But we also have had just a very good success rate, I guess you could say, or at the very least, it's shown good results, which I don't know if are repeatable, right? If you did AI Arena again next season, if there's a dominant big alliance, if there's even a bigger comp beast than Tucker was, does it work out the same, or does it end up being boring and predictable and very one-sided, and everybody just kind of gamifies it in a way? I'm not sure. And again, I also really like the idea that the first half of the game, the pre-jury phase, is really all about setting yourself up for the end game socially, right? Staying off people's radars, building those bonds that will help you later in the game that you can leverage into better positions, and having a good standing in the game. And then halfway through, closer to the jury phase, once you get into jury, even especially like final 7 on, competitions are huge, right? It kind of flips where comps weren't important in the beginning and social game was, where it kind of flips and your comps become even more important than what your social game actually is, though you do still have to manage, jury and everything like that as well with it. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you guys think of how that all played out? Tikor and Leah should go up. Hopefully Joseph safely makes it back to 1984. Godspeed. Who are you rooting for to win? I'll be honest. Full transparency. If Angela somehow win this season, I would just clap and say bravo. Actually rooting for, though, I think, again, Chelsea's far and above the best player in the game right now, especially even with the positioning I have with her on the Allegiance map. After that, it might be crazy to you guys. Quinn. I think of all the players in the game after Chelsea, right? Tikor has, got the social credit at the moment. I don't necessarily respect her game, but also I don't even think she knows what her game is, right? She talks about how, she didn't flip on anybody. They didn't flip. They all flipped on her and Chemo first. That's not true, right? Like, in Tikor's mind, a lot of what she did was because other people came for her first. When no, if she just kind of owned it and been like, yeah, I flipped the vote. Yeah, I did that. Like, it wasn't because anybody else did anything to me first. I just did it to them. I'm the one who made that decision. I wasn't forced into it. If she kind of owned her game that way, I would maybe root for Tikor. But the way it is, it doesn't seem like she's that aware that that's actually what's going on. Also, she's so misted by Chelsea and doesn't see that Chelsea doesn't really have her best intentions at heart either. So that really kind of hurts her standing for me as well. She'd probably be, though, maybe the third pick after Chelsea and Quinn on someone who I'd say, like, yeah, probably deserves the win the most if she can get there. And then after that, Angela. Everybody else, I don't think I'd be too excited if they won. I don't think I'd be cheering from the rooftops if anybody else other than them ended up winning this thing. Where are we at here? I completely lost where I was. Let's jump down a little bit. Norma, how you doing, Norma? I want the Secret Alliance mug, or you and me, and final two. I like those ideas, Norma. Bring back AI Arena next season. I agree the AI Arena went on too long, but it definitely helped with some uncertainty on Thursdays. And Camby, that's where I'm at with it too, right? I think it went on too long, but I think it did add to the chaos, right? It allowed Tucker to play the way he did, right? Tucker can't be willy-nilly with the veto and save Angela the way he did if he doesn't feel confident that he can go into the AI arena and win, right? So it did bring a lot of fun to the season, but I just wonder, on a season where you don't have a Tucker, well, I mean, who's doing that? Where they're using the veto and then playing an AI to stay, right? Who's doing that? Nobody, right? So on a season where you don't have Tucker, on a season where the big alliances stick and they don't break apart and they don't blow up, on a season where you have an even more strong comp beast, I feel like AI Arena is kind of a dud twist, and really kind of, ruins the game in the long run. Just so happens we're in a magical season here, people. I don't know how many of you are realizing it. We are witnessing one of the best seasons of Big Brother that we've had in 10 years. 10 years at least, right? I feel like we are on our way here to see a season. It's better than 17. It's better than 20. What other good seasons are there from the last 10? It's better than 24. It's better than 25. It's better than 23. It's better than 22. It's better than 19. It's better than 21. It's literally better than every season in the past 10 years already. And we've only just started the jury phase. So I don't know if anybody actually also sees this, but this season has been just amazing. Every single veto has been used. Every vote has not been unanimous. Not one single unanimous vote this season. Several vote flips, several fights, no large alliance. This season has just kind of magically been perfectly good, right? And I don't know how much credit we have to give that to the AI Arena. It could be that it's just, hey, when you have AI Arena, it causes this. Or it could just be that we got really lucky with the casting. We got really lucky with all the circumstances and the situations that we had. And it was just kind of a perfect storm of things that led us here to this crazy season that we've had this year. Let's see where we're at here. I completely lost where I was. We'll jump down a little bit. Quinn is taking a lot of the hate. But T-Core will get all the votes from jury, but I'm cheering for Chelsea. She is wanting MJ to take her out. Another big reason to get T-Core out of the game right now. Jury votes, right? If it's Chelsea versus T-Core, I could see a lot of people going for T-Core over Chelsea. It's just a thing, right? And it depends on how things play out from now too, right? Whoever Chelsea's responsible for leaving this week, if it's Chelsea and T-Core at the final two, well, they might vote T-Core over her. And I think there's a lot of people that kind of baby T-Core, not only in the house, but outside of the house. So the people that are in there that are just think T-Core is really sweet and nice might end up voting for T-Core, even though Chelsea could be more deserving. So again, another reason why I think breaking up that trio is huge right now for going forward in the game, because you're going to need a weakened T-Core. And if you don't start weakening her shields now, well, she's going to always have two people that are never going to put her up, that are always going to save her. They're always going to have each other's back. They're always going to be numbers to keep her in the end. You got to break that up. It's just too powerful in this game, especially as the numbers dwindle more and more. You got to break that up. Where we at here? I would have liked there to have been a 9-person jury, so Tucker could have made jury. He deserved that too. I think Tucker did deserve jury, but I do like if there's a 9-person jury, you got to have at least 18 house guests. It just feels weird that more than half the house makes jury, right? When you only have 16 and literally more than half the house is in jury, it just feels like it's unearned and kind of weird at that point. I also just prefer in general the smaller jury. I think the longer you were in the house, the more idea you have of what the game actually was looking like. People who were evicted, let's see, who even would be in jury if that was the case? You'd have Joseph and you'd have Tucker. I think both of them really saw the game very well, but Tucker now, after all these weeks, if he was in jury and goes to the final, how much of an idea does Tucker really have about the rest of the game? That's a lot of game that he would miss out on if he was the first member of the jury, and then he's deciding on who's to win. It just feels too long, right? It feels like it's too much game that would have passed them by to really make a valid decision on who should win. Plus, people just end up voting for their friends anyway, so we kind of know where his vote would end up going. Where are we at here? AI can't go too long, winning out. Quinn has fumbled a lot, but he's a good enough social game to avoid eviction. And that's the thing, too. I really like that almost everyone has fumbled. Every single HoH has left their HoH week in a worse off position than they started in. Even Chelsea, right? Chelsea's probably the HoH that did the best coming out of her HoH week, but the very next 2 weeks, what happened? She lost 2 allies back to back. So it's just one of those things that we've seen interesting here where everyone who gets into a position of power ends up fumbling it in some way. They're not playing these, perfect GameBot games where you do this, that, and this, and then you go to the end and you win, right? They're not doing the big, large onion alliance. They're not doing those kind of things. They're playing more like just normal, messy players who aren't perfect at everything and go, all right, you know what? Let's just do this because it makes sense. They're playing emotionally, right? They're letting their emotions get involved. And I feel like that always leads to just more interesting dynamic seasons. And I think we're in for a fun ride here towards the end. Hopefully Chelsea is thinking about who she can beat in comps towards the end. Chelsea, MJ, Leah, and Rubina for the final 4. That'd be interesting. That's the final 3 I've been saying since the beginning. I hope it goes that way. Oh, that was for another comment earlier I missed. Oh, wait, here it is. I say Chelsea, Quinn, and Angela to win. Cannot get behind a Leah win. I can support that. MJ saying to the camera, I have them wrapped around my finger. No, MJ. That was funny the other night. Tucker should have played for him. He was more Angela than for himself. Tucker was the type of player where he was ready to risk it all. And I still think, yeah, did Tucker, kind of say, yeah, I'll go up if you need me? Yes, and he shouldn't have said that. But at the end of the day, T-Core should have known Tucker would have left, and it's her fault that he was gone. And I think overall, while, yeah, it's probably a good thing that he left long-term, it did kind of put more of a spotlight on the trio, but it does seem like right now they're kind of sneaking their way on through, where at least if Tucker was there, he was a weapon that could be taking people out for them, right? Maybe Tucker would win this HoH. Even if he didn't, it seems like Tucker would have been somebody who still would have been an option to be going up on the block as a potential shield for the trio. But now they don't have that in their back pocket. Where are we at here? Worst Big Brother player ever. Oh, no, I lost where I was. Oh, no. The chat just like jumped on me, and I completely lost where I was. We'll jump down to the bottom here. Let's see, where are we at? I'm sad that Chelsea won HoH. She's not my favorite player. I kind of like Chelsea. I think she's doing all right. Did she need to win this HoH? Probably not, and probably shouldn't have won this HoH, if I'm being really honest. But it does give her a lot of control on where the game goes on from here. And if she plays her cards right, she can still kind of, straddle that line of being in the middle. And that's not how to play BB. Angela's too emotional all the time. Well, they're all emotional, right? And that's kind of the thing. Each one of them are emotional players in their own right. And they're not always doing what's just the strategically best move. And I think that's fun. I like that. If you could have a showmance with someone from the season, who would it be? I think we've been over this before. That, Quinn and Joseph are not the type of person that Leah normally goes after. Even Cam is not the person that Leah normally would go after. She says she has a type, and I'm not saying I 100% fit that type. I'm just saying I'd probably be just as whipped as Quinn. Listen, what am I going to say, guys? I think I'd probably be in Quinn's position, but there's a chance that it's a role reversal. If I'm in there, there's a chance that I'm the one who has a minion in Leah. That is a possibility. I'm just saying, she's got a type. She's let this be known, people. I hope Leah wins and Quinn gets evicted. Just because you watched some shows doesn't mean you know how to manipulate people or gain relations. 100%, Chris. And that was a thing that Joseph just didn't really realize, right? He's, watched the show. He watches podcasts. And I don't know about him. I think he knows more, right? Like, he was aware of like Joker's updates and stuff like that. Quinn, I know for sure, only watches episodes and only watches one podcast of all the podcasts that there are on YouTube. And there's a lot of great ones, including my own. There's a lot of great ones. Quinn only watches one. And I feel like that gives you a very narrow-minded viewpoint on the game and how things are supposed to go, especially if you're only listening to what happened on the live feeds. You weren't actually watching what was happening on the live feeds. So for him especially, I think it's an issue. Joseph, I think, knew the game a little bit more, but that also goes to just kind of the next point of just because you're a super fan and just because you feel like you know the game very well, that doesn't automatically make you a great player. You do need these social dynamics. And I'll be honest, it might be a hot take. Might be a little bit of a hot take. Just a little bit. Maybe even a self-shot, just a little bit. But I think I'm one of those rare few that maybe transcends this a bit. I feel like if you watch a lot of feeds and you watch a lot of the show, usually there's a good chance you probably don't have as great of a social butterflyness to you, right? You're not fully out there experiencing and interacting with a lot of people. Because what are you doing during your summers? You're watching Big Brother, right? I think there's a skill set that you need where you need to be out there. You're someone who is always the life of the party. You're always the one who's kind of the center of attention in groups. With Big Brother, you're getting like the best of the best of the best, sir. Good old Men in Black reference there. You're getting like the cream of the crop as far as these just charismatic people. And if you're someone who's just like, oh, I love Big Brother, I watch it all the time, I watch it every summer, but you're just kind of sitting at home watching Big Brother all the time, you might not have the skills you need to socially move through the game. And I think that's a thing that a lot of people miss. And again, maybe it's a little bit of self-shot. Again, I feel like maybe I transcend that a little bit. You know, I've been around the block a few times, right? Like, I know how to handle myself in a group. I'm very comfortable in front of crowds. Not everybody can do that kind of a thing. We are introverts living vicariously through BB. Just say it, Ori. Maybe. Nani, you kind of nailed it. I think if you are a natural introvert, that doesn't necessarily mean you can't win Big Brother, right? You can be an introvert but still be socially aware and be able to, get people to really trust in you and be on your side. You don't have to be an extrovert, right? But it helps. It definitely helps. And especially too, just the social interactions, right? It's like any skill that you have. The more practice you have in that, the better at you're going to be, right? The more time you spend hanging out with people and interacting in these large social dynamics, the better off you're going to be in a situation when you're thrown into the house like that. And I do feel like, it's not a 100% correlation or anything, but more likely than not, if you are a super fan, there's a lot more super fans that probably don't have that skill set and don't have those experiences and wouldn't be able to pull off a lot of what they think they can pull off. There's a lot of people that believe Big Brother is X's and O's, right? You go in there with a game plan. You do this, you do this, you do this. Double eviction comes up, you do this. This situation comes up, you do this. There's a backdoor situation, you do this. It's not that way. Big Brother, this is kind of like a college football thing, they say. It's not about the X's and O's. It's about the Jimmies and Joes, right? It's not about the plays you call. It's not about the moves you make. It's about the people in the game that you're playing with and how you interact with them, how you leverage those positions, how you can make your way in the game, and then call the plays, right? What do you have at your disposal that you can then use to make those moves, not the other way around? And again, you don't necessarily need to be an extrovert to be able to do that kind of thing, right? We've seen even introverts that have done really well, right? Someone I'd say like Vanessa or Steve Moses on 17. They're not necessarily extroverts, right? But they're actually a little bit more extroverted than the average super fan, right? I think for the most part, super fans don't necessarily make great casting, right? You want somebody who knows the game, is aware of things, and is more of just a gamer and somebody who's there to play hard than necessarily anything else. And I feel like a lot of times you actually get super fans who end up being just very passive and just kind of letting things happen. They don't end up making the moves that they really should because they're playing a very safe game and they're playing just in general a boring game. Where then you get guys like Tucker in there who's just like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to play this thing as hard as I can because I don't know any other way. That's just how I live my life. Ends up being a little bit more interesting, a little bit more dynamic. I know I took some shots there. Let's see where we're at. I totally lost where I was. I like Mackenzie, delusional. Me or them? Quinn and Leah deserve what they got. I'm social around people I like and don't cry all the time. Ladybug, you're perfect. If you're that's what we need. You're great. Colleen, 100%. She would break your heart, or she's just a flirty girl. She can't help it. And Norma, I don't disagree. I would probably have my heart broken. Let's see where we at here. Quinn is my favorite, but only the because the rest of them suck. I'm social and cry, Jacqueline. Tikor is an introvert and she's doing extremely well in the game. Yes and no, right? Because here's the other thing. Tikor's not self-aware of herself. And that is another part of the social aspect. Being aware of what your own moves are. If Tikor gets up there at the end and says, everybody was flipping on me all game, they were turning their backs on me, so I turned their backs on them, everyone's going to look around and go, wait a minute, who turned your backs on you? Right? Like, you did it first. And I think that's another part of having that social aspect as well, of not just your social awareness of how other people are reacting to you, but what your own moves are doing to others. For example, she's turned her back on Chelsea, but yet still thinks that Chelsea will have her back 100%. And while Chelsea is misting her and leading her on to believe that, Chelsea's also talking to MJ, being like, yeah, put Tikor up. You need a replacement nominee next week, MJ? Tikor's your girl. So it's a very one-sided relationship there that Tikor doesn't understand because, again, she's introverted, but I don't necessarily think that's why she doesn't see this. She just doesn't have that social awareness, right? You could be introverted and have good relations, right? Like I said, you can have people who aren't these big, crazy, big personalities who are able just to make good connections and people can want to have their back and look out for them. But the bigger thing is having the awareness of what people think of you and what you're putting off to other people. And I don't think Tikor has that really well. I think she's very blinded and very focused on her own point of view and doesn't see things from other people's point of views very often. In fact, the only person whose point of view she ever tends to see is Chelsea's. And again, I think it's because she's missed it in that situation. Where are we at here? MJ's starting to look better to me. Honestly, MJ's a little delusional, just a little bit, but she does have some good reads on the house at times. Other times they're completely off the wall. But every so often you throw enough at the wall and it sticks. One of the ones last night she actually had pretty dead on was Chelsea thought that Cam and Leah have this really good relationship. And I'm just like, oh no, like not at all. Cam's choosing you, right? Like he's not choosing Leah over you. Come on, Chelsea. And MJ's got that right. Whereas Chelsea believes there is a chance that Cam would choose Leah over her. Where are we at here? I wouldn't take Angela to the end simply because I don't think she will have the votes to win if I were there with them. As a player, you want someone next to you you could easily beat to win. You would think so Butterfly, you actually think Angela, if she got to the final two, would have a good shot to win. I disagree. I don't think anyone in that house respects Angela's game. None of them would vote for her to win. I think if you're sitting next to Angela, you win unanimously. That's my view on it. But again, who knows, right? If she made it to the end, depending how things went and who you burnt on the way there, maybe they're bitter and they do vote Angela over you. That could be a thing. But for me, I would see Angela as a walking, talking $750,000 check that I want to sit in that seat next to me and guarantee that I win. But again, it could be wrong. Let's see, where was I? Totally lost my spot. Angela may be brought to the final two. Chelsea is playing an excellent game. I agree. If Angela makes final two, she will win because she manipulated everyone. Self-awareness, speak that, brother. And right, that's a big thing is just social cues in general, right? Like being able to pick up on when someone's annoyed by a conversation. How many people do you know in your life who just don't get those cues, right? They're having a conversation with somebody and they cannot tell that they are checked out. That's a big one, right? And that's one where people do that in Big Brother all the time, where they're having these conversations they don't want to have and they just kind of check out. You're able to pick up on that stuff. You're going to know who's more loyal to you than others. And that's a thing that you just don't like always have. That comes from experience and understanding from social interactions. And just in general, I think there's a slight correlation between people who don't have as many social interactions and hardcore Big Brother fans. It can happen. It can happen. It is cringy, but not playing a bad game. I wouldn't disagree with that. Yeah. Chelsea winning HoH may hurt her game. It depends 100%. It is always a risk winning HoH, especially in a week where you didn't need to win it. And there were way bigger targets than her this week. She wouldn't have been even probably touching the block, especially with the first jury member and then jury phase is starting now. It could be a make or break HoH for Chelsea this week, 100%. I don't think T-Core is an introvert as much as she's just never wants to commit to anything. Her whole thing is getting old, and people are weary of those who don't put themselves out there. And so, well, that's the thing, right? And even you might not be an introvert, right? Like, I don't necessarily think you like T-Core would be an introvert. She might actually probably be considered an extrovert. But again, that's where the cream of the crop part comes in. Everyone going in that house, they're all big personalities. They're all people that back at home, they're that guy. They're that girl in their friend group that everybody's hitting up, being like, yo, you're coming on out to the party, right? Hey, we're going to the mall this weekend. Like, yo, let's go grab some lunch. Let's grab a coffee. Let's do this. Let's do that. I think everyone who gets put in that house, they're all that kind of person, right? They're all like the biggest personality in their friend group. But when you're in there with 16 other people who are all just as big of personalities, just as much as extroverts, you're kind of an introvert to those people, right? Like, you might not be an introvert. That's how you're going to come off. And you can even end up being intimidated. And I think that's kind of part of T-Core's problem is she's indecisive, but also I don't think she wants to have those conversations she needs to have. She could have had all of them multiple times. She'll make a decision even like, oh, I got to tell Chelsea about Quinn this week. I got to tell Chelsea. I got to make sure Quinn gets on the block this week. Then she gets in the room with Chelsea. Chelsea tells her, yeah, I can't put up Quinn. I'm putting up chemo. Oh, okay, that makes sense, right? Instead of having the conversation because she doesn't want to. She doesn't have it in her to put herself out there like that, which doesn't necessarily make her an introvert, but more of one than Chelsea, right? Chelsea's going to have that conversation. It might be a hard one, but she's going to make it. She's going to do it. Which necessarily doesn't even, I don't even think we're even talking about introverts, extroverts there. I don't even know what the better proper word would be there. Passive and aggressive doesn't necessarily fit. Passive and proactive, right? Chelsea is more a proactive player. She took like 1 week of being a passive player sitting in the back room, and what happened? Cedric and then Brooklyn went back to back, and ever since then she's been much more proactive with her game, whereas T-Core is very passive, right? She'll even come to a decision after straining over it and struggling to make it, then, well, I don't really want to do anything with it. So even that can kind of be more of what we're kind of talking about here. And I think that kind of a thing also comes with just social interactions and being more confident and comfortable with yourself in social situations, and being a bigger, stronger personality can help you with that, because you're going to have more confidence going in there. Whereas someone like T-Core, she might go in there thinking, hey, I can do this. I'm a big personality. I can be there. But then you got like 15 other people who are all just as big personalities, and you kind of maybe sink into your hole a little bit and you become a little bit more passive. I agree with you, Ori. I love seeing that. Whenever I come back into a chat and I see somebody agree with me, I love it. Hey, Ori from California. It's 6:37 a.m. just for you live. Love to see it. Welcome on in, JJ. Ori, you don't think if Angela makes final two, she could drum up some respect? She gives cheerleader speeches and has two HoHs under her belt. It's possible. It's possible. But I just don't see it. I don't think Quinn ever votes for Angela. I don't think MJ ever votes for Angela. I don't think Cam ever votes for Angela. That's three right there. Then you're looking at people like Rubina, Chemo, T-Core. If any of those three are in the final two, the other two are voting for them, right? If Chelsea is in the final two, that's 3 votes for Chelsea over Angela. Who else are even votes? I just think there's way too many people that are already almost locked in for certain people that it doesn't matter if Angela got there or not. There's no one that is going to go, yeah, I'll pick Angela. Maybe Leah. Maybe Leah picks somebody doesn't pick somebody over Angela and votes for Angela to win. Other than that, I just don't see it. And again, it's possible. It's possible. But most of the time, right? And this is also why, like, I kind of doubt that Chemo's speech had as much impact on Chelsea and MJ like they were kind of saying. I think they knew going into this, like, this is what we were going to do. They had the talks even before, and I think they tried to tell Leah and Angela beforehand, but they're just kind of playing up the fact that Chemo's speech changed their mind. You really end up just kind of voting for the people you like the best, right? Which also still fits with them picking Chemo over Joseph. They just like Chemo over Joseph, so they're going to pick him. I don't necessarily think his speech had that much to do with it. But if that is the case, that's why I said wow earlier, and very much could affect the jury vote if that is a situation, because all of these players are very emotional. So maybe I'm backpedaling a little bit on it, but that's how most juries end up working. You vote for the people that you got along with. Where are we at here? Oh, here we go. She will nominate Angela for sure. And either Quinn or Leah, either make Quinn or Leah mad, or T-Core and Rubina if she nominates Chemo. And if Cam finds out what she said to us about him, she will make Cam super pissed, and MJ. That is all true. That is all true. I still think that's why putting Chemo up is the better option, because while, yeah, you do kind of want to break up the Leah Quinn thing, or even if you're worried about the Leah Cam MJ stuff, that's a possibility. But you know for a fact that T-Core has 2 people as soldiers. That is just a strong trio, and especially if you want to work with T-Core, if Chelsea does want to keep T-Core around, she's got to take out her security blankets. You can't work with T-Core and have them there, because that's her having numbers on you at all times. If you keep the trio around this week, you're setting yourself up for a 3 versus 1 Final Four scenario where they're all up against you, and then you're going to be leaving in 4th place. And that's not what you want. You cannot have this strong trio in there with the numbers as low as they are right now. You already, this week, 3 votes ties it up. Next week, 3 votes wins it, right? 3 votes is all you need to evict the person. And you're going to keep a trio in the game who are always going to vote together, are always going to vote to save another. That would then mean if one of them was on the block, even if you wanted to vote them out, they already have 2 votes to keep themselves safe. All they would need is 1. And that is just, this is the week. If you're going to break up the trio, you have to do it this week. Because like I said, next week, it only takes 3 votes, and then they can have full control of the game. Even if they don't have HoH, they can have full control of the game. And if they do have HoH, guess what? They have HoH, they have 2 votes. All they would need is 1 more vote. They're deciding who's leaving and who's going. Now, does it necessarily work out short term for Chelsea? Yes. Long term? Absolutely not. And that's what you need to be thinking about right now is long term. How do you get yourself to the final two? If you're going to do it, you can bring T-Core back in if you get rid of Chemo and Rubina. You could pull her back to your side. But if you don't take out Chemo and Rubina, she's going to choose them over you. And even, I don't even know if that's necessarily true, right? I could see T-Core choosing Chelsea eventually. But I think in the long run, if it came down to a final three scenario or a final four scenario where it's T-Core, Chemo, Rubina, and Chelsea, and T-Core wins the veto and has the deciding vote in the final four, you think she's going to vote out Rubina over Chelsea? I don't think so. Rubina's her best friend. Do you think she's going to vote out Chemo over Chelsea? Maybe, but I don't think so. I think if you're Chelsea, you have to break up that trio. You have to do it. Angela's a good option, right? You could get Angela and just let next week kind of play out. But again, who's the other trio? I guess you could say you've got Quinn and Cam that can be Chelsea's trio. But I don't want to go into a final three scenario with that, right? Like if I'm Chelsea, I'm looking for a final three scenario where I can have maybe it's T-Core and MJ. Two people who are going to take me to the end. Two people who probably don't have a lot of jury votes. Maybe T-Core. T-Core would have some jury votes, right? I wouldn't want to necessarily sit next to T-Core. T-Core would be a tough one. But you do want to take people who are going to take you, right? It's a difficult spot. It's a difficult spot. Where are we at here? I lost where I was. Look, I don't want to see Angela the whole season. She has already worn me out between the lashing out randomly and the crying so much. Crying. Cheerleader speech. That was a pretty good line. Production obviously likes Quinn. If MJ wins out, that'd be crazy. Chris, I actually don't think production likes Quinn. I actually think production was very angry at Quinn, especially for voting out Tucker. I think they were very angry. I think they were angry at the whole cast in general. The few days afterwards, they were giving Quinn a hard time. They were giving everybody a harder time about naps, saying like no napping, no sleeping. So I think they actually were a little bit upset with Quinn. But he definitely is someone they're using as a big character on the show. Because he does gives them good kind of like a narration and good diary rooms to end up using. They're a little much. They're a little much with all the screaming. Sometimes he sounds like R2-D2 up in there. And it's a thing. Is the house 5-3 versus Angela? Penta plus MJ, Leah versus T-Core, Rubina, Chemo. Kind of. We have our little bit of our allegiance map. This is how I kind of see it. You've got Chemo, Rubina, and T-Core over on one side. They're your solid, strong trio. I then have on the other side Quinn, Cam, MJ, Leah, who all have kind of said about taking shots at the other side. Quinn's already done it by putting up Chemo and Rubina. MJ said she would put up T-Core and Chemo next to each other, though she did say she would backdoor Quinn. So like that side is not really strong and hard and fast, right? It's just kind of there. And that's just kind of been what's fun about this season is these are all just so dynamic and they move all around. And there's no like real strong power structure in this house. A lot of it is duos, right? You've got Chelsea and Cam, strong duo. Even though they throw each other under the bus, MJ and Leah, kind of a duo. Quinn and Leah, kind of a duo. Who else do you got? You got T-Core and Chemo and T-Core and Rubina. But they also have multiple options there because they're a trio, not just a duo. Meanwhile, you got Angela out on her own. It's really, I just love the way things are all playing out and how they're still very unpredictable because there is no power structure, right? There is no like people that are necessarily on the out, so they gotta go. Even Angela, I think there's a strong chance she can stay this week, even if she's on the block on Thursday, just because, like we said, why take out Angela when there's other people that maybe are bigger priorities at the moment, especially not just for Chelsea. Chelsea could almost wash her hands and let Chemo go. And yeah, she put him up, but she didn't want him to go. It was just that he was the pawn and they flipped. Sorry, T-Core and Rubina. That stinks. You know what? It happened to Quinn earlier this season when he put up Cedric. Didn't expect Cedric to go. Sometimes your allies go home when you put them up on the block. Ain't that a shame? Like, you can kind of get away with it. And I think even if that did happen, Chelsea wouldn't get the heat for Chemo leaving. It would be everybody else who voted for Chemo to leave. The big hard part of that is, though, you got to get Quinn to vote for Angela to stay. You got to get MJ to vote for Angela to stay. And that's the hard part. I think the real scenario is where if Angela gets vetoed, if she can win the power of veto, or if Leah wins the power of veto and if Leah wins the power of veto and uses it on Angela 2 weeks in a row, we're living in the best timeline. We're living in the best timeline. Because then what would end up happening is I think, I'm not 100% on this, I think it would be Rubina as the replacement. I know she contemplated Quinn, but I think Chelsea sees Quinn as a shield and a weapon for not just herself, but for Cam. Because I think Chelsea knows if Quinn is gone, Cam's gone next. And she wants to make sure that Cam sticks around because he's a big shield for her. And she wants to make sure Quinn's around because even if Cam gets taken out, Quinn's still a shield for her. Plus, they can take the shot at T-Core, Rubina, and Chemo, and it's not that bad. She would end up having to put both of them up on the block, though, as the replacement. That is the one tough spot. It's a tough spot to be in. That's why I don't think necessarily this HoH was a great thing for Chelsea's game, but she's got a lot of power on how this could go, and it's going to get messy because there's just so much like interesting dynamics going on. And I'm loving it. All right, where are we at here? I'm completely lost. That's the trio. Yeah, so the trio would be T-Core, Rubina, and Chemo. I just call them the trio because they are the trio in the house. I needs to be now up, or it needs to be up now, Ori. What needs to be up? What did I miss? T-Core holds a grudge. Let's go Eagles tonight. Absolutely. Ori, which one is the strongest at comps? Ooh. That's tough. I would say probably the strongest, physically would be Cam. Quinn, though, I think is sneakily good at some of the physical comps, right? Like, he's kind of sneaky in shape. MJ's shown that she's really good at comps. Rubina isn't too bad at some of these comps either, though it's hard to judge with the AI arena because there's such a small pool of competitors you're competing against. I think T-Core's dangerous in some mental comps. Chelsea won this one, which was all about the messages. She did say she tried to throw it, but what's made this kind of fun is there are so many people that do have strengths in different competitions, and there's nobody who's stood out above the rest as like, this is the person. The only one we had like that was Tucker. There's no one else who's kind of claimed that role of just being clutch, because that's more of what you need than anything else in these competitions, is being clutch in the moment, keeping your cool, keeping your head straight, and not kind of getting distracted by the pressure that's going on, and just focusing on the task that you need to do. And you're probably going to do pretty well at the competition. And we haven't seen anybody kind of be like head and shoulders above everybody else in that aspect yet. Not yet, at least. T-Core won't nominate Chemo because easy finale win, but that's just the thing in general. She's just in this trio with Chemo and Rubina. They're never going to put her up, so why is she ever going to put him up? Why is she ever going to do that? She's always going to go for them over Chelsea, over Cam, over Quinn, over MJ, over Leah. all of these people should be trying to break up the trio this week. Let's see. I'm voting for any housemate who tells Angela to quit crying. Oh my god, I saw the picture, and it's all females except Chemo and Cam, and Quinn. Quinn's there too. I was like, wait, all female alliance could prevail. Let's see, 6 women versus 3 men. Yes, but I don't think the girls alliance, the all women alliance is gonna pan out, right? The 6 girls are not going to team up and just kind of just get the 3 guys out at this point. I don't think it's gonna happen. If anything, Angela's gonna blow that up this week when she gets nominated. Angela's fake crying is hilarious. Did you not hear the laughter during her vote? See, I think she plays up the crying, absolutely. But I don't think she was laughing. I think she was just trying to put on that cry. Whether that was real or not, I don't know. But in general, she didn't seem like she thought she had the votes. And it's just so funny that before the episode, she was telling Leah, like, I just want to be on the right side of the votes. It's all I want, right? And then because of Leah, she ends up on the wrong side of the votes. Tucker was probably keeping production awake and on their toes. Absolutely. Angela needs Quinn here to win. Quinn won't nominate Angela because of Leah, and Jory is already here. I think Quinn would still nominate Angela, even though Leah is kind of looking out for her. I don't think that would stop Quinn from nominating Angela. But I do kind of agree, right? I think really, if Angela, Leah, and Quinn, if Leah was able to bridge the gap between Quinn and Angela and stop them from bickering at each other, it would never happen because Quinn's just like, I tried. Too many times. Fool me once. Fool me twice. Fool me 3 times? Nah. Like, nah, not happening. But it would be pretty amazing. Like, that would be the trio that you would want to kind of form. But that's also like another example of why, like, you can look at that and be like, yeah, those 3 should team up, right? Like those should be the people that should group up. But like, it's not that simple, right? You just can't get Quinn and Angela just to start working with each other. Guess who tried to do that already? T-Core, Rubina, and Chemo. And look how great that worked out when they tried to get Quinn to work with Tucker. It just doesn't work, right? You can't force these things to happen. If people don't want to work with each other, you can't force that. And if anything, it just ends up blowing up your spot. Where are we at here? Angela's fake crying is hilarious. Tucker was probably keeping production on their toes. We saw that stuff. Angela needs Quinn here. I hate Quinn's diary rooms. Are you kidding me? He screams. It's annoying. I 100% with you. 100%. It was way over the top. But I think production likes what he gives them in the diary room, if that makes sense, right? Like, we don't like them. Production likes it, right? Production likes what he gives them. And part of it probably is that they're annoying, right? They kind of like that a little bit, right? It's that little bit of someone to root against as you're watching the show. Or you're the man, but very disappointed that you're an Eagles fan. The Giants will beat you guys twice this year. Not a chance, Matt. Saquon's going to put up like 400 yards on you guys. It's going to be probably the greatest running back game that we've ever seen in the history of the NFL. He's going to light you up. It's not even close. But I still love you, Matt. Hate or love got a lot of screen time. 100%, Chris, right? Like, Quinn's getting that time. The YouTube channel, Kieran Watt, posted Tucker's live watching the episode last night. It was fun watching him during the AI comp. 100%. I'm sure you could have heard his cheering from the moon last night when Rubina won. I think Quinn is trying to have DRs like Johnny. 100%, Marie. He's putting on that character when he's in there. And not even necessarily that he's putting on a character. He is that guy, right? Like, you watch him enough in the house. Like, he's always trying to do a bit. He's always trying to do something. Which, if I'm honest, we have that little bit of self-awareness I was talking about earlier. kind of a self shot there. I mean, every so often, I'm always looking for the bit. I'm always looking for the joke. Quinn's that to the extreme, I think. I would have loved to see that. The Tucker Live. Marie's close, but no one can top Johnny Mac. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Funny story. Do you guys want a funny story about Johnny Mac? So back during the COVID days, during the pandemic, I found myself on Twitch, and I found myself in a game of Among Us with Johnny Mac. And it came down, it was me, him, and somebody else in the final three. And I had my Among Us character dressed up as the doctor. It looked really cool. And I could just tell it wasn't Johnny. I was like, the way he's moving around, he is not the imposter. It's not Johnny Mac. So I call the button and I say, Johnny Mac, as a fellow medical professional, I believe you are not the imposter and we should vote for the other guy. And we voted for the other guy, and me and Johnny Mac, we won that game of Among Us. This is a fact. This is a fact. This really happened. Me and Johnny Mac, we went to the final two. I told you guys, if I got a final two with you, I'm taking you to the end. I had a final two with Johnny Mac, and I took him to the end in Among Us. I did it. I didn't turn on him. I didn't turn on him at all. I would love to see that. Where are we at? Quinn should be below Angela. See, I don't think so. I think Quinn has Chelsea looking out for him. I think Quinn has Cam looking out for him. I think Quinn has Leah looking out for him. Do they all kind of throw little shots here and there? Sure. But I think all of them are looking out for him way more than they're looking out for Angela. Everybody puts up Angela. Everybody's cool with that. The only one who probably doesn't put up Angela is Leah. But even then, I think Leah kind of understands if she won HoH, she might have to put up Angela. Angela is just way at the bottom. She's below everybody. Where are we at here? It's still up and a good watch. Oh, the Tucker Live. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I haven't actually seen it myself, but I'm sure he was going wild. Unpredictable is great. I can't clock it like the other seasons. 100%, right? And that is just what I love about Big Brother is when it's unpredictable. We have no clue where things are gonna go. Even this week, if things do kind of go where Angela gets evicted, what happens next week? We don't really know, right? It all depends on who would win the HoH. And it's not like where, oh, if these three people all win HoH, we know what's going to happen. Because each one of them all have their own unique reasons for going after different people in the house. Just like MJ was talking to Chelsea earlier. She's like, yeah, if I had won this HoH, it'd be T-Core and Chemo going up on the block. But we're playing different games, but I'm also not going to put you up on the block. But we're also not necessarily in an alliance, per se, right? It's just that I'm not going after you. You're not going after me right now. And I would go after these people and you would go after these people. And everybody's kind of cool with that. And it's kind of interesting. So each person that would end up winning all would have their own unique motivations than necessarily like this one alliance goal to get to the final six or whatever it might be. Just woke up. What's up now? Golden, so much. Chelsea wins HoH. She threatened Cam to put him up on the block. She's probably putting up Angela and Chemo. Angela's probably going to blow up from this, so that'll be fun. She's probably going to be like, "What if that girl alliance wasn't a thing?" And then Chemo, Quinn, and Cam are all going to be like, "Wait, girls alliance? Is that what was going on in girls' night?" They're going to be like, we mopped the floor while you guys were up there creating girls' alliance. So that could be a lot of fun today. Let's see, where are we at here? Wouldn't Chelsea put up Leah? I think Leah could probably be the most likely renom. But if Leah were to win veto and take down Angela, now we're cooking. Now we got an interesting scenario. You have to think about the ramifications of putting Chemo on the block. T-Core did not take it well when Quinn did so. Chelsea might lose 3 jury votes. Potentially. But what's worse? Losing 3 jury votes and having 4 or having that trio in the game who are never going to have your back and are always going to have each other's back. I think you got to take that. I think it's just a risk you got to take, right? You're going to piss off somebody, but that trio is too strong to keep together. You can't keep it together this week. Again, I think if you can get Angela out this week, that's a very neutral decision. Even if you put Chemo up on the block, again, it's just kind of keeping the peace, and if they can understand the logic of like, it's just best for my game and that's what I had to do. I know you weren't going to be leaving and I know you were safe no matter what. You can kind of work it that way. Plus, I don't think Chelsea will ever lose T-Core. I think Chelsea has T-Core wrapped around her finger. And even Rubina is a little bit misted by Chelsea. She has doubts about Chelsea, but guess who is always having Chelsea's back and saying, no, Chelsea loves you, Rubina. Chelsea loves you. T-Core. So even though she's putting Chemo up on the block, T-Core was singing her praises to them again, saying this is going to be okay. We're going to be fine. So I don't think she would actually lose those votes, but I think she needs to break it up. Trio's jury voted since it's I don't really think that's necessarily locked in because of that. I think in general they're going to vote for Chelsea anyway. There are people who would probably vote for Chelsea over MJ, over Leah, over Cam, over Quinn, over Angela in the end. And I don't think if Chelsea's the one to take them out, that would change anything. I think at the end, they would still go, you know what? Yeah, Chelsea had to take us out. She took us out, and we got to go with it. But at the same time, we've talked about it. They're all emotional, messy players, and they could very well just be bitter in the scenario. But I think just numbers-wise, you cannot leave that trio. Like I said, after this week, 3 votes is all you need for eviction. Even if one of them is on the block and the other 2 aren't, that's 2 solid votes. They pretty much control most of it. They only need 1 more. That's it. If one of them wins HoH, boom, they got 2 votes for who they want to evict. They have all the power. And then if you let them go past next week, you're done for. That's just, the numbers are too much in their favor. You got to break that up, especially when everybody else is so separate and so scattered. You can't rely on MJ and Leah necessarily. You can't count that they would keep you safe. You gotta break up that. That is the biggest threat in the game right now. I think you're giving them all too much credit. They had a chance to break up the trio last night, but instead went Joseph. Who knows where this week is going to end. I do think, though, for Chelsea and MJ, I do think Chemo was better for their game than Joseph. That I do think. And they made that point the entire time this week. I think they really were just going to be keeping Joseph because Cam, Quinn, and Leah all wanted to keep Joseph. And they assumed that Angela was on board with that as well. So they were like, well, why do that? But then they ended up deciding, you know what? No, let's go the other side, right? Let's flip this. We have the votes ourselves, Chelsea and MJ, and they made the decision to get Joseph out. Because at the end of the day, who would Joseph put up on the block? Probably Chelsea, right? Probably MJ. That's 100% who he would probably have put up on the block. So in the long run, I think they made the right decision. But again, they did have a chance to break up that trio. And I do think the bigger threat at the time, right? Like if Joseph won this HoH, Chelsea's up on the block. Even though Chemo, he could have came in and win, Chelsea's not going to be on the block, right? If Chemo had won this HoH, Chemo wouldn't have put up Chelsea. So it did make sense for her to vote out Joseph. MJ, I think, probably could have ended up on the block if Chemo won HoH, but I don't necessarily think he would have done that. I think maybe he would have done Leah and maybe would have done Quinn or Cam potentially even as well, because they would have ended up being ones voting against them. But yeah, I don't know. Definitely interesting to see how it's all playing out, though. They do need to break it up, though. 100%. They need to break up the trio. Will they do it? I don't know. Where are we at here? Exactly why Chelsea should put up T-Core now. Lisa, thanks for posting the Tucker reaction. He's talking about if Leah had won the veto. And yeah, if Leah had won the veto and used it on Angela, it would be an interesting scenario on who would go up as the replacement there. Could be Quinn. And Chelsea's talked about, that being an option. But she's also talked about Quinn saying that she wants him here. And I think she knows that Quinn wouldn't put her up on the block. Or at least feels like she's comfortable with Quinn not putting her up the block. And is somebody who would take shots at the trio if she needed it. No way she would do it. Angela and Leah for sure. I would, but I'm glad I can't say that name. Kawana not. Banana not. I have no idea how to say that name. Posted them on YouTube from the IG and TikToks. That's pretty cool. Angela won 2 HoHs. She did. Where are we at here? That's to another one. How come nobody talks about Cam? Because Cam doesn't do much. Cam doesn't do much. You know what Cam did today? After the HoH competition, he almost convinced Chelsea to put him up on the block. That's what Cam did today. Cam is boring. He hasn't done much either. 100% hasn't. Also, I think if you're talking about why nobody talks about him as like a possible nominee, it's because he's connected with Chelsea, and they know taking a shot at Cam is taking a shot at Chelsea, so they're kind of stuck in that way as well. Chelsea would put whoever doesn't benefit her game, no matter who gets mad and or doesn't like it, she can talk her way out of it. I'm with you, Nani, right? Like I think she has the chance right now to do whatever she wants, talk her way out of it, and get out of it eventually, right? If Chemo's the one to leave, I think she doesn't lose T-Core and she doesn't lose Rubina, and she pulls them on over, and they would come over to her side, and they would be even stronger in her pocket than they were when Chemo was here. She kind of gains them as numbers, which she kind of already has T-Core, and T-Core talks them up already. So I think in the long run, Chemo getting out now for Chelsea would be huge for her game. I'd even go as far as saying this. If Chemo was the one to leave this week, I think Chelsea would be far and away the front runner to win. I think everyone would be looking at each other. I think they would all be looking to work with Chelsea. I think all of them would vote for Chelsea to win in the end. I think she would cruise to the final two if Chemo was the one to leave this week. Because nobody talks about Cam except Chelsea telling him what she doesn't like. That's true. I don't think the girls thing is happening either. It never does. Never does. Especially when Angela goes up this week. I fully expect the girls alliance to be fully blown up this week. I wasn't 100% sure because of rewind and all that kind of stuff. Leah told Quinn something last night while they were going to bed, and it was something about Angela, and I thought she said Girls Alliance, but there's no rewind. I wasn't able to find a clip of it anywhere else that anybody recorded it. I wasn't recording it at the time, and I don't know if that's what she said or not, but Quinn's response was very much in the, she's crazy, she's wild, I can't believe she would suggest that. So I think Leah was trying to say that Angela was trying to pitch a girls' alliance. I think that might have been what she told Quinn. I'm not 100% sure on that, though. Where were we? The live crowd was laughing at Angela. I'm always forgetting Cam is in the game. I don't know if he's even seen an episode. So backdoors are on the table now? Yes, Matt. Backdoors are on the table right now. They'll be on the table for how much longer? 3 more evictions? You only have 3 more evictions for a true backdoor. Everybody will then start playing in veto after that. So yeah, we've got backdoors back now. Double eviction plans. The Cam was talking about potentially being this week. It's not going to be this week. I would assume next week is the double eviction. I think people are looking at chemo for that, especially if he gets past this week and Angela leaves. I think Quinn feels like he's a double eviction target. I think in general, if the trio stays intact, they're a double eviction target. I could see if Angela stays, she's the double eviction target. MJ could be one for that. Leah could fall victim to that. I think Chelsea would be maybe the only one who would be safe. I think going into the double eviction, no matter who wins, I think the only one who would be 100% safe would be Chelsea. And I think that could change after this HoH reign, right? We've talked about it before. Every single HoH has left the week in a worse position. I think right now, going into that kind of a scenario, she'd be in the best spot. And I almost think if she gets rid of chemo, she's still in that best spot as well. I don't think she would lose the numbers. It's possible, and these people are very emotional, but it's possible. Completely lost where I was at. Where are we here? Who do you think everyone has been crying casting votes this season? They are the closest cast in BB. I don't know if they're necessarily the closest cast, but one of the things I said like earlier in the season, it was during Angela's punishment too. I said this. They all care about each other, right? Like they kind of hate Angela. There's a few of them that really hate Angela. But other than that, all of them, for the most part, I think like everyone as a person in the house. No one has like actual like I hate you except for Angela. No one hates each other. They all really do care for each other. But at the same time, they all are like, in this game, I hate you, right? Like nobody hated Joseph. Not one single person in the house hated Joseph. But they hated him in the game. They were like, this guy's gotta go, right? He thinks he's gonna win. He thinks he's beating everybody. He's so full of himself. But as a person, they're like, yeah, he was a good kid. Right? So, like, maybe a little bit of the closest BB house, right? But at the same time, we've got the game beefs that are keeping things going and not making it all kumbaya in there. So, again, it's just... This season just was a perfect storm of good cast, good beefs, but like lovable characters that all still kind of like each other, people playing hard, no big alliances, vetoes getting used every single week, split votes, no unanimous votes, flipping the house, people fighting. It's literally just been a perfect storm of a season. And I hope you all realize that like these are the times, right? Like, you know, hey, Eagles game tonight, you know, a very big song for the Eagles Super Bowl run was Dreams and Nightmares. And one of the lines from that is we used to pray for times like these. These are the times that we prayed for, people. When we were going through zombie week last season, these are the times that we prayed for. Or this type of a season. So yeah, we're witnessing what I think might be the best season we've had in 10 years. At least I think that it already has beaten out many of the seasons that we've had in the past 10 years. And it's been phenomenal so far. We got a long ways to go, right? We've only just started jury. But by far, it has been one of the most fun pre-jury phases of any season we've had in a very, very, very long time. Let's see where we at here. Being the one to take out T-Core is a bad call. She's pretty openly going to be a bitter juror. 100% Xander, which is why you don't want to get rid of T-Core, which is why I think Chelsea wants to keep people like Quinn, why she wants to keep people like Cam, even MJ, to be the ones to take those shots for her. If she could take out Angela, It's the least amount of blood possible. If she could take out chemo, you get a little bit of blood, but I think you still get some allies out of T-Core and Rubina with that, and they come over onto your side. But you don't want to be the one to take out T-Core. Like, she can't put T-Core on the block as a replacement. That would be really bad. They would end up being so bitter. They'll take Rubina, they'll take chemo, but you can't touch T-Core. You can't do that. They would lose it. And why? Because T-Core leads that group, which is why you gotta weaken T-Core by taking out her numbers. Do we know? So do you know who's being nominated? I believe it's going to be Chemo and Angela. Those are where Chelsea's kind of leaning at the moment. Potentially a Leah replacement if needed. She also is contemplating Cam. Like, she threw that out to T-Core, but we'll see. I think a lot of times she just tells T-Core what she needs to hear. It felt like when T-Core came into the room for the one-on-one with Chelsea already had it in her mind. She's like, all right, I got to do some damage control on this. And she almost like didn't even let T-Core even try. She was just like, here's what's happened. I'm putting Angela up. It's got to be chemo. It is what it is. This is this, and this is the reason why. You good with that, T-Core? And T-Core was just like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And just went along with it. So I feel like Chelsea can get T-Core on her side at any point. Doesn't matter what she would do to her. As long as she doesn't put her on the block, she's got T-Core in her back pocket. Let's see, where are we at here? Chelsea didn't win. She threw it and still won. That's what she says. And also that could just be what she's saying. She might have actually been trying. But apparently what happened was she went super low trying to throw the tiebreaker, whereas everybody else went really high. And that's what ended up happening. Cam is useless. Last question was a math. It was like I don't know if it was minutes or seconds or what like time frame it was. I would imagine seconds. But how many seconds were the AI messages in total from the other night? So there were 40 messages each one. I would say probably was around 60 to 90 seconds, right? So just some quick maths in my head, as I'm terrible with math. That like what if it was 60 seconds, 40 of them? What is that? Is that like 2,400? Is that right? Did I do the math right? Guys, I'm terrible at math. 2,400? Is it 2,400, Matt? Did I get it right? Guys, I'm the best at math. Just what a swing that was. I'm terrible at math. To finding out I'm right, I'm the best at math. So yeah, if you estimate that each AI message was about 60 seconds, like a minute, I'd even go a little bit more than that, right? Like probably each one was probably somewhere between 60 to 90, maybe even 2 minutes. I don't think they were as long as 2 minutes even. So if I had 2,400 as like just off of 60, I'd want to add a little bit to that. I would say probably 3,200. 3,200 would be a good solid answer, I think. Maybe. If you wanted to throw it, if you really wanted to throw it, you guys all know what you do when you really want to throw it. You put down $1 million. You put down $1 million. That's what you do if you want to throw it. We're playing Price is Right rules, baby. You put infinity, Matt. You put the side words 8. And when Julie says, is that an 8? You say, no, it's an infinity sign, Julie. That's how you throw a competition. But yeah, apparently that is what Chelsea attempted to do, was give a very low number, assuming that somebody else would be closer. But instead, everybody went over. And she ended up being the one that was closest. Let's see where we at here. Completely lost where I was. T-Core got to know she won't win over Chelsea. I'm not sure she does. And I also don't know if she cares. That's the other end of it too. I think T-Core, if Chelsea were to win instead of her, I think she'd be perfectly fine with it. Like, not even like what I think Chelsea and Quinn were kind of saying to each other earlier, where they were like, if I couldn't win, I'd want to see you win. Where you're just kind of saying that, right? Like, I don't think you really mean it. It was just kind of like to make sure the others like knows, like, yeah, you're good with me. I think T-Core like full on like means it, right? Where it's like if Chelsea won over her, she'd be happy. Where we had here. Obviously, MJ is not part of a trio. Everyone keeps talking about the three trios. I almost think you could say like she's in a little bit of a trio with Cam and Chelsea, or at least in MJ's mind, she is. She's in a trio with Cam and Chelsea. But they don't really respect it as much, right? Especially Chelsea doesn't necessarily think of it as much of an option, but it is an option. It is technically a trio, a little bit, but very loose, and all of these pairings, all of them are very loose. The only ones that are like rock solid, T-Core, Chemo, and Rubina, Chelsea and Cam. Which again, if I'm Chelsea, I want to take out the other solid pairing, the other solid numbers in the house, and that would be T-Core, Rubina, and Chemo. Even though like they're not necessarily coming after her right now, it doesn't matter about right now. We're talking long term. That is the threat. That is what you need to break up. Just like if there was a showmance in the game right now, you got to break up the showmance, right? You can't keep that together. If you know there's two people that are always going to keep each other safe, you got to take them out. Here, in this case, you got three of them. It's a throuple. We got a throuple going on, and you're going to let it happen? You're going to let it stay? You got to get rid of that. You got to. You cannot let them cook and stick around. Right now, you already just need 3 votes to tie a vote. You let them go further than this, they win power next week, they have all the control going forward. All the control. Let's see where we at here. I agree, Ori, because production finally butted out and switched things up with the Ainsley Arena. I won't be surprised to see Quinn and Chelsea on the block if any of the trio wins HoH next week. And that's what I'm saying. I think that happens either way. I think if Chemo or Rubina or not Chelsea, I don't think Chelsea would put up, T-Core would put up Chelsea. I think Rubina and Chemo 100% would put up Chelsea. 100% would put up Quinn. T-Core would put up Quinn without a doubt, right? But I think the big thing for Chelsea is Chemo might do it. And Chemo, even if he might not do it now, if Chemo wins HoH 3 weeks from now, who's he going to choose? Rubina and T-Core or Chelsea? Chemo's going to take Rubina and T-Core. Same with Rubina. Who's Rubina going to choose? Chemo or T-Core or Chelsea? T-Core might actually choose Chelsea, but I think in the long run, I think she would take Rubina and T-Core. And the 3 of them just all protect each other. Whereas even if you look over on the other side, right? Like, does MJ really protect Leah? No, I don't think so. Same with Leah to MJ. Even though they should, I don't think they really do. I think even Quinn would take a shot at Cam eventually when he needs to. Same with reverse on Cam. I think he would take a shot at Quinn when he eventually needed to. They're not a solid. Same with Leah and Quinn, even though they're kind of like together and they're doing their little like flirty thing where she's kind of got him whipped. I think Leah, if she saw the chance to take out Quinn and it was best for her game in that moment, she would do it. Whereas T-Core, Rubina, and Chemo, I don't think they would ever go, you know what? It's best for my game to take Chelsea over the other 2. I don't think they would ever do it. And I don't think they would ever do it for Chelsea. I don't think they would ever do it for Quinn, not for Cam, not for MJ, not for Leah, not for Angela. They're always protecting each other. And when you only need 3 votes to make it a stalemate, you're getting the numbers this week. If they make it past, they have 3 votes. If they win HoH, they got 2 of the 3 votes they need to send whoever they want home. If they win the veto and they stay off the block next week, even if only one of them goes up, they have 2 votes to keep that person safe. It is just way too strong when you're this far into the game to have a solid trio like that where nobody else has numbers. I feel like I've said it a lot, but yeah, it's just it's a huge thing you need to take care of. MJ might slip by and take it if they start taking each other out 100%. And that's the thing now where you need to kind of be stealthy. That's the position Chelsea should be in, is letting somebody else make this decision. She doesn't even have to be involved in this. Quinn could have won it. Cam could have won it. Who was in the tiebreaker? I forget now. Let me look back at my notes. I have it written down. Where are we at here? The tiebreaker was Chemo, Cam, MJ, and Chelsea. Could have let MJ have it. Could have let Cam have it. You could have even let Chemo have it and let him take a shot at Quinn or Cam. Send out Quinn if you need to, right? Maybe even Chemo takes the shot at Angela as well, right? You could have let any of those 3 have it if you were Chelsea, and you would have been fine this week. She decided to go ahead and win it, and maybe she didn't decide it. Maybe she did try and throw it like she said she did. But either way, not exactly an HoH you want at this point. Especially if you're in her position. Staying on good terms with the trio is actually not that bad of a call. T-Core is only one that can even win the comps. Just let Quinn do it, or Leah, or Cam. Just can't let it be you. I mean, like, I don't disagree, right? Like, in the long run, you would want to, be on good terms with them. But again, if you're going to be like, all right, well, we'll let somebody else do it next week. What if they win HoH? Right? Like, I know we're saying like, oh, only T-Core can win comps. Rubina's got one arena win, but she was right there. She was seconds away from beating MJ. She was one ball away. She was this close to beating MJ in the arena, so she would have 2. Chemo also didn't do too bad in this arena against Rubina. He was just behind her as well. So don't count out Chemo and Rubina. T-Core can win comps. Yeah, she's already got HoH. I think all 3 of them very easily could win a competition. And if you let all 3 of them go in the next week, one of them is HoH, 2 of them have 2 of the votes that you need of 3. They would only need 1 more vote to decide who they want to go home. And I feel like that is too much of a strong power position to let somebody be in, right? You're really letting them kind of take over if you let them go too far. And then if they somehow survive the week after that, then you're in real trouble. Because then you only need 2 votes to make it a split vote, and HoH decides. And if you got 3 people, one of them the HoH and 2 of them have the votes, you're in full control over who goes home. Full control. And that's just 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away. That's all that is. That's not, 4 weeks down the road. Like, we've got time. We can take care of them later. Like, this is a now problem. This is not a future problem. This is at this moment, this trio is going to be very strong if we don't take care of it now. Where are we at here? One of the trio has to go. Chelsea should get Chemo out. Is it possible that Chemo goes this week to push T-Core closer to Chelsea? 100%, right? And I think that would be her best option, actually. Do we think everyone tried to throw the HoH? Chemo really should have tried to win this one to keep the trio around more one more week. I don't know. That would actually be kind of funny if like just everyone tried to throw it. They will have OTEV and Zingbot. What else is missing? Yeah, both of those have not happened before, and we have actually seen Zingbot and OTEV be the same competition, so they could do that potentially again. That could be a thing, but yeah, definitely those two comps are still potentials to be the veto coming up. Where are we at here? She needs to play it like she did previously, or put up people who are actually threatening her game. 100% agree. You like now is like there's no hiding anymore, right? The numbers are so small. You just got to take your shots, right? And try and manage the blowback as best as you can. Where was this? I wanted to see it. Chelsea getting Chemo out benefits her and gets T-Core closer, gets Rubina closer. I agree. Chelsea was also picking the jury foreman in this eviction. That's where I a little bit disagree. Like, yes, that'll be the person who's in jury the most and will always be kind of talking about it. But like, if Angela went this week, Angela's not swaying anybody's decisions, right? Like, I don't think people are really going to care. You know who people are going to listen to in jury? I think they're going to listen to T-Core. I think T-Core, if she goes in the jury, she's going to have a big sway on what that jury says. I think Quinn is going to be talking up Chelsea a lot. That's for sure. I don't know if he'll get anybody's minds to change on things, but I think he's going to have definitely a say. And then I think MJ and Leah are both very influential too, because I think if you have one of their votes, you probably have the other one of their votes. Potentially. Let's see where we're at here. I don't think anyone will take MJ out until the very end, because over the past week, almost everyone is trying to work with her and gain her trust. That's true. Leah's come second and third in a few as well. Even if Chelsea wanted to protect T-Core and take out Chemo and Rubina, it's still going to harm the relationship with T-Core. I don't think it would. I honestly don't think it would, especially with how well T-Core's taken this news. When T-Core found out Quinn was putting up one Chemo and Rubina, she was like, I'm done with Quinn instantly. T-Core found out that Chemo was going up. She was like, okay. All right. She was cool with it. She almost didn't push back at all. The only thing she did was like, if you need a renom, think about Quinn. That's all she did. T-Core is so misted by Chelsea and thinks that Chelsea has all of her best intentions at heart when she does not. Chelsea's got Chelsea's best intentions at heart. Period. Chemo won first AI. MJ just made a game-changing mistake. Ooh, what was that? Voting Joseph out? A lot of the usual season gimmicks are gone. It's just the house gets being entertaining. Chelsea doesn't even like her. She's jealous of her and Cam. Oh, who's that? MJ? She will sleep her way out of it. What was this? I saw something. T-Core said something. T-Core said on live she wants to take Chemo as far as possible, but Chelsea is her secret too. And so that's the thing, right? T-Core is basically like ready to throw her game away for Chelsea. I don't think Chelsea's ready to do that for T-Core in return. Like, no, not a chance. But T-Core would do it for Chelsea. It's a very one-sided relationship. Very one-sided. Chemo is who needs to go. It's T-Core who's running them. If she goes, they don't know what to do. Where we at here? I kind of agree on that too. I think also technically, if you could get T-Core out, Chelsea would not be the person that can do it. She can't be the one to get T-Core out this week. I think she can get Chemo out. She can get even Rubina out this week. And I think she would be okay. If she took out T-Core, that would be the mistake. That would be where she would run into trouble. Because as long as you don't piss off T-Core will get Rubina and Chemo to fall in line. They'll fall in line. They'll just listen to T-Core in the end. They'll listen. Where are we at here? It's just didn't really consider that either way. T-Core will not be thrilled with letting her only other final two get taken out this early. She wouldn't love it. She wouldn't love it, but she seems like she's like, yeah, you know what? Chelsea, I got Chelsea. Chelsea's got my back. And it's not her only other final two. T-Core, if she has what she thinks is Chelsea and Rubina, T-Core's like, yeah, I got three. I got three final twos. Oh, and Chelsea tells me that Quinn's actually looking out for me. That's crazy. I got Quinn, I guess, too. Cam, too, as well. T-Core's going to feel totally insulated. She'll feel great. T-Core's going to feel fine. And plus, we know T-Core, even if she is upset, she'll strain and struggle, and she'll talk about how much she needs to talk about how Chelsea needs to go, and then she'll never do it. She'll just say, never mind. I forgot. What was I saying? Did I mean to have a conversation with somebody? I guess I forgot to have that conversation. Where are we at? Backdoor her or something. It's the first week. It's able to be done. I don't want to float her to win. I think floating is a legitimate strategy. I think it can be viable. Because she knows she's a target. What did Chelsea even do to get T-Core literally in love with her? No idea. She just does. Did Angela know who's going home, or was she left out? So from what I understand, MJ told Angela to vote for Chemo to stay, but she believed Leah in that they didn't have the votes, so went with Leah voting for Joseph to stay, which is also why I don't believe Chelsea and MJ saying that the vote, or not the vote, the speech from Chemo was what changed their vote. I think they made the decision before the speeches. They're just kind of using that as their justification. Where are we at here? Hi, Oreo. Hi there. What is that? Treckles? Is that how you say that? Treckles? Truckles? I'm probably saying that wrong, but hi. How's it going? And just there, a Joseph vote. Chelsea would 100% throw T-Core under, just not yet. Yeah, she doesn't want to do it yet, but she 100% will. I hope Quinn, Leah, and Chemo to go next. That wouldn't be a bad boot order. Wouldn't be terrible. Thank you for the update. I'm glad you appreciate it. We're going to be wrapping things up here in just a second. Chelsea all about the win. Only one playing Big Brother right now. 100%, but at the same time, also messy. Also a little emotional, right? She almost let the whole MJ Cam Leah thing get to her head. She literally was threatening Cam to put him up on the block. When I'm telling you, that was a moment where I'm watching the feeds and they're having their conversation. And I'm just kind of taking notes. I'm like, barely like I'm listening, but I'm not even like looking. I heard her say, well, what if I put you on the block? I was like, what did she just say? That's crazy. Cam would go home. Oh, where are we at? Throw Joseph a vote, I meant. Oh, yeah, throw him a vote. T-Core does have like a borderline obsessive relationship with Chelsea. Yeah, evict my allies. I don't need anyone. That's not true. I genuinely believe Chelsea will protect T-Core. I think Chelsea will protect T-Core for now. But at the end of the day, if Chelsea's got to choose between herself or T-Core, she's choosing herself. I don't think T-Core would choose Chelsea. I'm not going to lie. I honestly think that. That might be a thing. But yeah, she's definitely got her very much misted to fully believing that T-Core's always, that Chelsea's always looking out for T-Core. Do you want to know the best example of Chelsea already not looking out for the best for T-Core? MJ and her had the conversation in her HoH room where MJ was like, yeah, I'd put up T-Core and Chemo. I'd put them right on up. And then they also talked about other scenarios, right? Where if Chemo were to leave, what would she do? And she talked about like other scenarios of just putting like Quinn and Angela up together. And if she needed a renom, she's like, what would I do in that scenario? Know what Chelsea said? T-Core's your girl. There's your renom right there. Chelsea already is putting out the seeds that, yeah, T-Core should go up on the block. We saw the diary room this week. When Quinn was HoH, what did she say? She said Quinn got 2 out of the 3 nominees right. He should have put up Chemo, Rubina, and T-Core. These are Chelsea's words. Chelsea's own words in the diary room saying that Quinn got 2 of the 3 nominees last week right. He should have put up T-Core and he would have had all 3. She is not looking out for T-Core's best interest. She is using T-Core. And I'll be honest, I love it. I love it. I full on love it. It's why I think Chelsea's playing one of the best games this season. Where are we at here? Like, have you been watching Chelsea rides for T-Core? Wait a minute. No. Have you been watching? Have you been watching? That is just factually wrong. Floaters are better than coasters. Yeah, absolutely. Floaters are better than coasters. They're different things. Floaters go where the power is, and they make moves, and they leak information. They rat each other out like different sides. They work all the angles. Coasters are the ones that are just kind of there. They're not doing anything. They're not making moves. They're furniture in the house. They might as well be a coffee table. They might as well be the nomination chair. They might as well be the light sitting over in the corner. They might as well be that, that little stupid pink cat, the one they paint every year to look different. That's a coaster. That cat could be nominated and does more in the game than some of the house guests end up doing. But floating can be a legitimate strategy. Chelsea feels T-Core and Chemo were responsible for the flips earlier, so she knows 100%. You think Chelsea forgot that the only reason Cedric's not here anymore is T-Core and Chemo because they were saving Rubina? You think she just forgot about that? I'll tell you who did forget about it, though. T-Core. T-Core thinks, well, I only did it because they flipped on me. Nobody flipped on you, T-Core. Nobody did that. T-Core's accent gets on my nerves. Chelsea would probably like to go to the end with T-Core, even in spite of Chemo and Rubina on the jury. But if it comes down to her or Cam, I'd say it's a done deal. I don't know if it's necessarily a done deal. And I don't know if necessarily she wants to go to the end with T-Core, because it is a risk. But I also think Chelsea would probably bet on herself to beat her. So she maybe would take her to the final 2. But again, right? Like I think the bigger thing is if T-Core had to throw her game away and it saves Chelsea, I think T-Core would do it. If Chelsea had to throw her game away to save T-Core, I don't think she's going to do it. I think she lets her go. She's like, see you later. Bye, T-Core. Have fun in the jury house and be a vote for me. Chelsea would love T-Core to be in the jury house, rallying that vote for her, knowing that she's got 3 votes from the trio with that in that scenario. I think that's what she would rather have. She would rather have it be Chelsea and Cam in the final 2, because I think she fully knows she beats Cam. Cam's not winning if it's Chelsea versus Cam, and I think Chelsea knows that. You might have a risk with Leah and MJ potentially wanting to vote for Cam, but I think the trio all votes for Chelsea. I think Quinn would vote for Chelsea. I think Angela would vote for Chelsea. And then you would probably get MJ and Leah to end up going on that as well. I would think. I think it would be unanimous. But I don't know. Joseph was a floater. Cam is a coaster. That's actually, I think, a good call, actually, Coach Carter. I think that's a good example for this season. Joseph always just tried to go where the power was. Wherever the power was, he was flip-flopping around to that side, kind of giving info to each one, trying to play all angles. Cam's just there, right? Cam will make some moves, right? A little bit. He's at least talks game with Chelsea. And I think Cam also has a good understanding of the game. But for the first half of this game, he's been asleep, right? Which, don't get me wrong, has worked out for him. He's gotten this far. It's worked out for him. Is it the most entertaining thing? Absolutely not. Angela's floating on her tears. Angela's trying to float, but she's drowning. I think we need a new term. There's floaters, there's coasters, and there's the that's where Angela is. She just bubbles. That's all you get from Angela. Come to think of it, Quinn, Angela, T-Core are the only people to win HoH. Quinn and T-Core sent their own ally home, as Chelsea doesn't send her closest ally home. It's like an easy 2-3. So there have been a lot of HoHs who have sent their allies home. There's been a lot of pawns that have gone home. I'd also say that every HoH ended up in a worse position, even Chelsea, because following Chelsea's first HoH, what happened afterwards? He lost two of her biggest allies, right? Like, a big part of that was also the Cedric HoH that happened afterwards, but all of it fell apart. All of it fell apart from that start with Chelsea's HoH, because it really put a spotlight on the Pentagon. And that really helped with Quinn kind of leaking the info to T-Core and Chemo. And then they all started to get weird about like decisions that were being made, and they didn't feel like they were being included in it. And why did they have to feel like their decisions were being made and they weren't being included in it? Oh, because Chelsea won HoH and she was the one making decisions, and they didn't feel like they were included in everything. And it just got even worse the next week, and it got even worse the week after. And then we started losing allies from the Pentagon. So it's been really interesting that when you have power in this game, people aren't using it necessarily the best ways. They've been messy, and they're always ending up in a worse spot, which is why I'm also worried for Chelsea. This is as much as I'm like, you got to break up the trio, like, I'm saying it like it's the only option, it's the best way to do it. It's not, right? Like, I'm saying, like, yeah, you got to break up the trio, because I see that as the biggest threat in the game. But it is not an easy decision. It is a messy decision. It's a hard one to make, and it will have impact on the rest of the game, no matter what decision she ends up making, right? Just like we were saying, oh, well, she'll lose T-Core and Rubina if she puts up Chemo. Well, what happens if she puts up Leah and Quinn? Right? She's not only going to get Leah and Quinn upset, Cam probably is going to be upset. Not 100% with her, but still, it's going to be a consideration where it's like, all right, well, now you're choosing this trio over us. Why wouldn't she feel like she already thinks Cam's going towards Leah and MJ? If she were to put Leah up on the block, why wouldn't she think that would be even worse? Right? And Cam would definitely separate and go over. She just threatened to put him up on the block. So yeah, it's one of those things where, like, again, like, I see it as you got to break up that trio, and like, that's her move. But it's not like it's a straightforward, easy move that you can just make and pack it up and see you later. It's like we were talking about earlier. It's not about the X's and O's. It's about the Jimmys and Joes. It's how you pull off those moves, how you leverage your relationships. And I think she can leverage her relationship with T-Core, where if Chemo's up on the block, it's not a big deal. And we've seen that from T-Core already. When she went and talked to Chemo afterwards, she said it was like, you're good. You're going on the block, but it's no big deal. It's fine. I didn't even fight for you. Chelsea's making the decision, but it's fine. And it's like, it's a thing. It's a thing. Let's see. Where were we? Joseph was a floater and coaster. Angela's a floater in her tears. We saw that stuff. Gotta remember Dr. Will won being a floater, 100%. Chelsea for the win. Let's go. the gross of Joseph Lee actually almost pulled off a Dr. Will, just one minor critique. Never tell anyone your exact game plan out of boredom. It's exactly what he did. Chelsea flat out told MJ she's not putting up T-Core. Cher, listen, I don't know how to tell you this. Yes, she said she's not putting up T-Core, but that does not mean she's protecting T-Core. She also, in that same conversation, if you want to use all caps, said to put T-Core on the block. Like, I don't know what you don't get about that, man. Like, I don't know. Everyone is expendable. They didn't flip on T-Core, but that sure was going to cut her. So why would she be loyal? And T-Core is not giving her game to Chelsea. Is she there for the money? And that's the thing, right? You always have to just play for yourself. At the end of the day, you got to play for yourself. Chelsea probably beats everyone left at this moment in time. 100% agree. 100% agree. Could that change with the decision she makes this week? Absolutely. But that's a risk with every HoH. Where are we at here? When you see Chelsea and the trio go far, you're going to eat your words. And you know what? You're going to eat your words when the Chelsea and the trio goes far and they cut her at Final Four. Sure, they can go far with Chelsea, but they're going to cut her. Rubina will never choose Chelsea over T-Core and Chemo. Chemo will never choose Chelsea over T-Core and Rubina. I don't know what you don't get about that. That is like, if you can't... Guys, I think we found one. Remember how earlier I was talking about how there's an overlap? There's an overlap between people who watch a lot of the show and people who just don't understand social dynamics. I think we found one. I think we found one. I think we might have found one. Listen, Cher, I'm giving you a hard time, but I just disagree. No, I disagree, but your viewpoint is your viewpoint. We welcome differing opinions here, and I hope you know, even though I'm getting animated, it's all love. It's all love. I personally love having these conversations because it gives me something to talk about. If everybody just in chat agreed with me, this would be the most boring show in the world. I would hate it if everyone just agreed with what I said. So hopefully you take this back and forth with all love and fun. We all have our opinions on Big Brother, because at the end of the day, like, there is no one perfect way to play Big Brother, right? That's why, I talked about in previous updates where, whether you're the social threat, you're the comp threat, you're the floater, you're whatever your game plan is, all of them are valid ways to play. Everybody can see the game different ways. Everybody's got their own view on the game. Nothing is ever a hard and fast, like, this is the answer. Just like how I was saying, like, yeah, I think getting the trio out is the play this week, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have consequences, and it doesn't mean it's not a hard decision and could blow up in Chelsea's face. It absolutely could. But at the same time, I think if you don't take that shot, it just as equally could blow up in her face. And that's what makes this such an entertaining season that we've had so far. I cannot sing the praises of this season enough. Who's that coming on in there? We got XDG coming on in, hitting that sub button. Guess what? You might not know this, but when you hit that subscribe button, we now have a secret alliance. Don't tell anyone. XDG, I'm telling you, don't tell anybody. Me and you are going to the final two. You might hear rumors about other potential final twos. Don't believe it. It's me and you to the end. We're going all the way. Going all the way. Where are we? I completely lost where I was in chat. Let's just skip down to the bottom here. Quinn, Leah, and Joseph was a trio as well. 100% Marie, which is why I don't necessarily think MJ and Chelsea voting Joseph out over chemo was necessarily a bad thing, right? I think for their personal game, it actually was good. But at the same time, that does not change that trio is very strong, and you got to break them up this week. And if you don't bring them up this week, it gets really dicey if you want to do it later. Well, hello there, XDG. We got a nice final too. Go like the video. Over 800 people are watching right now, but only half of us has liked the video. Misty's right. If you are new here, first off, hit that subscribe button. If you like this stream, if you're having a good time here, if you're liking what we're doing, smash that like button. It's the easiest way to show YouTube that you like the stuff that goes on here on this channel. Hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. We do daily live feed updates here on the channel every single morning, first thing in the morning. It's a nice, sweet, like short to the point, condensed everything you need to know from the day before. And then on Fridays, we do this, where it's this nice long chat. This is probably maybe one of our longest one of the season so far, where I get to chat with you guys, and it's a fun time. Let's see where we're at here. I don't know why they are so offended. I don't think anybody's offended, and hopefully nobody ever gets offended. One thing is, even if I disagree with you, or you disagree with me, or we have a back and forth, hopefully nobody ever gets offended by the back and forth. Because for me, it's never like anything that you guys would bring to the table. Like, I'm never offended by it. If anything, like, it just fuels like, hey, like we can have a fun debate now. Like, I'm excited for it. It's almost like when a boxer gets in the ring, right? Like, it's you don't want to hurt the person, but you're looking for the fun fight, right? Like, you're gonna have some fun in there, right? If you're not going in there to have a fun conversation, to have a fun little debate back and forth, what are you even doing? It's no fun to debate somebody that agrees with you. You know? We may have talked about it last update, right? Last live Friday morning. I may have taken some shots at people. I may have said some things out loud where I said, hey, you know, some BB podcasters maybe just agree with each other all the time. And maybe that's not the most entertaining thing. I think what makes things entertaining are disagreements, when people don't see eye to eye and you can get that good back and forth in a conversation. My picks at the beginning of the season were T-Core, Chemo, and Joseph, so it feels weird when one of my picks finally left. I agree, Chelsea can't bring the entire trio. You can't go far with them. Or did you eat breakfast? You get up early. I have not eaten fully breakfast yet. That is something here. We're probably gonna wrap up here soon, and I'll get a little something. Also, love your videos. It's how I start my morning every day. Love to hear that. I meant the funny part about Quinn's DR is that he had nothing to do with the Tucker going home except his vote. That's true. That is true. Where are we at here? Quinn thought he was a mastermind 100%. I'm ready for T-Core to hit the block for once. I'll definitely bring you to the end. Love it. Love to hear it, XDG. Or have you ever applied to be on BB? If not, will you? You know, let's just say I think Big Brother knows. I think they know that if they put me on the season, it'd be a boring steamroll. And it would just be like, all right, we just got to write the check for Ori, so we can't have him on the show. And then that's okay. I accept that. I accept that I'm just too good. And they know that. And you know, they want to have an entertaining show. They don't want everybody just to know the winner off the bat. They can't have that. Which, in actuality, I'm telling you guys right now, I'd be the worst. I would be the absolute worst. I'd be like a Quinn. I'd be like a Joseph. I might even be like a Cam, right? Like I'd go in there and be like, yeah, I'm going to be a Tucker. I'm going to be a Tucker. I'm going to be a Dan. Nah. I'd be a Quinn. I'd have like a million final twos, and then week 3, they're going to be like, yo, Ori, we just found out about 15,000 final twos that you have. And I'd be like, yo, wait a minute. Chill. Right? Ori's place is a fun place to chat and even disagree. Super respectful host and chatters. And that is the vibe we go for, Lisa. It doesn't matter what your opinions are, you know, what your thoughts are on the game, whether you agree or disagree. We're all here because at the end of the day, we love Big Brother, right? We love this show. We love chatting about it. And, you know, again, those disagreeing opinions, those are what make the good conversations, you know? Nobody just wants everybody to be a bunch of yes men, you know? You would never want to have a podcast where one person gives daily live feed updates, and then every so often they have one other person there with them who just says yes sir all the time. You would never want that. I'm definitely not talking about any particular podcast at all. Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. I say Angela or Leah next, then some trio double eviction, which I think the double eviction is going to be coming up. It's not this week, but I think it's the next week's eviction. Oh no, I just lost where I was. Like if you're in our secret alliance, or you won't be. Norma's my enforcer. Norma's our pit bull in the alliance. Norma's our vote whip. She goes and whips the vote in the shape. That is what Norma does for us, and I'm very much appreciative of it. Not gonna lie. Be honest. If nobody takes a shot at Chelsea, she's definitely gonna win 100%. If they don't take out Chelsea, I think she right now is the winner against anyone in the house if they're in the final 2 with her. Like heads and above. Like I have her up at the top. That is not because she's HoH. When you're at the top of this chart, that means that you're the best player in the house right now. That's what that means. And she is far and away. Look at the distance. Everybody else is grouped up in the bottom. She's at the top. She's at the top because she's doing the best. I love you, Ori. Too great. I love you, Ori. Too great giggle. Oh yeah, it is definitely a dominant personality trait. The Ori giggle. It makes people think we like one side winning out when we actually hate it. Right? Like that's the thing. We love power shifts. We love when you never know what's going to happen depending on who wins HoH, when there's one dominant side of the house that's always winning and they're just picking people off. Not as fun. With this season, it is so dynamic, and even depending on when things happen, right? If certain people won HoH, it would split the house in different ways. Really interesting. Do you have any tally on how many times Tikor has said throughout the season? Well, she says it. Let's do a little estimation here. We did some quick math earlier, and we found out that Ori is actually good at math. I said I was bad at math, and then I got it right. I'm great. I'm the best at math. So let's do a little quick maths here. She says it. God, what's the over-under on how many times she says and 50 times in one conversation? And she's got to have, what, at least 10 conversations a day? So you take that, and then you multiply that by how many days we've had in the house. So what is it? We've had, what day is it? 53? Day 53? I'm like scrolling up in my notes. It's day 53. So let's say if she does it like 50 times and there's like maybe like 10 conversations a day, that's like 500. And then you times that by 53. Shit, it's not a round number. I said an S word too. I usually don't say those words on YouTube. Right. It would be 500. Well, 500 times 50. The math genius Ori is coming out. 25,000? 45,000? So then if it's 53, you're going to add some to that. Let's say she said, 27,000 times. That is my answer. And I bet you it's not wrong. I bet you it's pretty close. Where are we at here? Ori for BB. Sip that coffee, Ori. Sip that coffee. I agree. I think right now, Final Four are Chelsea and the trio. I'm hoping Quinn goes in the next weeks. Have you tried out? Maybe. Or is the best smile. I appreciate that. Let's both join and stream roll the noobs, Ori. I'm down, Dame. I love a season of BB streamers as house guests. Listen, we all know how that's gonna go. And we all know who the first boot's got to be. Taryn. Simple. Honestly, MJ would have the greatest comeback story. Honestly, she's got a pretty good story right now. Or he's on a caffeine buzz a little bit. Leah and T-Core are the only two never to be nominated. That is true. So any of those five would make a great season. I don't like Angela, but I would be sobbing every second just like her. Which final two would you say stay true to? Lee, all of you. I would stay true to all my final twos. Because you know what? Shh, don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. We're good. We're going to the final two. Me and you. You know who you are. I'm looking at you right now. You know who you are. We're going to the final two. How far do you think Angela will go in this game? She could be sniped out this week where they just send her home because it's the easy one. But man, every week she stays, it's another week where it's like, yeah, I think she's going to be in that final two chairs because it's like, why would you get rid of her? Just why? There's almost no reason. Enjoy how chill free you are each day so early in the morning. I try. Self-awareness is key, 100%. Quinn, Leah, Cam, Angela to go. It's only game. Why you get mad? I want to go on BB, but I'm not pretty on social standards. And got fucked up teeth. Who cares? Who cares? You go on there and you be you. Because even if you think you're not pretty, what's pretty? You know what's pretty? Having a great personality, having an electric vibe about you. Your teeth. Who cares? Who cares? I bet you look great. You look fantastic, and you would crush it on Big Brother. Crush it. Both Chelsea and MJ haven't been eligible for eviction. Oh, that's true, right? Yeah, they've been nominated, but not up for a vote. Right? Yeah, I think. I tell people Big Brother is my sport. Some people watch football. I watch BB. Who's that coming on in? Robin, hitting that sub button. Guess what, Robin? You might not know this, but when you hit that sub button, we now have a secret alliance. Shh. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. I like that viewpoint. BB is your sport. Some people watch football. I watch BB. I watch both. I got my Eagles jersey on. Big game tonight. Gonna be good. Yes, but she never positioned to receive votes as she won the arena. Honestly, I was gonna stop watching BB after 25, but I wanted to give this season a shot, and I'm back. Yeah, you were so glad you did, huh? So glad you did. We love Big Brother. We absolutely love Big Brother. Are you going on the challenge? Now, that's one I'd probably get stomped. I would get Listen, I probably could handle myself in a hall brawl. Probably could handle myself in a hall brawl. Probably could handle myself in a pole wrestle. But if you give me like somebody like Derrick, I'm not beating Derrick in a pole wrestle. I don't think anybody can beat Derrick in a pole wrestle. That guy's just a little pit bull who just keeps on going. Plus, you need way too much cardio that I don't have for that. I should be practicing my French horn. Okay, or you sound like Joseph. Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. Angela is drowning, according to you. Will MJ go on the block with Angela as MJ and Cam touchy-feely? I don't think so. I think Chelsea's going to keep her safe. She told her as much. So I think she's gonna stay away from doing that. Team who should have gone, they're not playing smart. I can understand Chelsea and MJ's reasoning for it, but I do agree that getting rid of the trio is a big priority. I do think, though, Joseph was scary to MJ and Chelsea, so I understand why they did it. I was just shocked to see it happen. I completely lost where I was, but what we're gonna do? Let me jump down to the bottom. I'm gonna catch up on some of these last chats, and then we're gonna try and call it there. Guys, stop talking. Talking. It's a secret. Don't tell about the final twos. I was happy with the last 2 evictions. I'm doing fantastic. Got a home lesson in 18 minutes. Ooh. I've noticed that T-Core's accent isn't noticeable when she whispers. Maybe. I haven't really noticed that. Or you really don't know how much that means to me. I've always wanted to be on since the 7th grade and have needed a good push to audition. Thank you. That's the can't get on if you don't try. Can't get on if you don't try. Put those tapes in. Go do it right now. Go do it right now. They got the website. It's up. Thank gosh we got a good season. One of the best I think we've had in 10 years. In 10 years. Go Eagles. Let's go Birds. They might pay the price if they keep letting Mackenzie slide by. That could be a risk. If I ever apply for anything, it'd be Survivor. I can't do 90 days. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Matt not happy that MJ and Cam will be in the jury house. I would love to see Chelsea and MJ as a final 2. That would be a nice one. I wouldn't be upset with that one. Sorry, had to drop out of chat for a bit, but one reason to keep chemo is that Joe, Quinn, Leah, Angela may have been a perceived foursome. That is true too, and just in general, right? Just Joseph was scary to Chelsea and MJ, and I understand that, like, why they did it. I was just shocked to see it happen. I didn't expect it, just the way all the conversations had gone leading up to the episode. Even in the morning, it all seemed like chemo was a lock. If anything, it seemed like maybe Joseph Rubina would be a close one. I felt like chemo was a lock to leave. But it ended up flipping. And I love that it did. I love that it did, because that's the fun stuff. Or are you aligned with too many people? I don't know where your loyalties lie. Sorry, but you're going on the block. Can't be trusted. Maul. Whoa. Let's summer down now. There's plenty of other options. We haven't seen a last minute vote flip like last night. Love not knowing the final noms until the last minute. Hope they bring back something similar next year. I'm for that too, right? If you know what I even think would be an interesting thing, it would suck for the replacement nominee and make it like a real nerf to staying in the game. Like it would make it hard. But what if you didn't find out the replacement nominee for veto until Thursday? Right? Like, what if you just didn't know all week who the replacement nominee was going to be, and when veto's used, someone's going up on the block, and you just don't know until Thursday's vote? That could be interesting, and it takes the competition out of it. But it also makes it really hard to stay as the renom to be able to work up votes. You gotta be quick, right? I I just don't love the idea that a competition has as much power early in the game. Because I think in other seasons that didn't go as great as this one did, given different circumstances, it could have been a kind of a choker for the game. But the results have been good. The results have been good. Where are we at here? Chargers fans exist. Go Chargers. Hey, I'm blanking on his name now. Why can't I think of his name? Hardball. I'm a Hardball believer. I liked him when he was with San Francisco. I like his brother John. I think the Hardballs are great. So I'm a believer in the Chargers. I think they're due for a good season. Is Leah a floater or a coaster? I think she's a floater. And I think more than that, she's a manipulator. Right? Like, I wouldn't even say necessarily she's a floater or coaster that flops around. She's a sit in the back shadows manipulating. And I don't even know how to exactly quantify that on floater, coaster, player scale. But she's definitely manipulating. Ori, I think I see a podcast name on the bottom of your mug. You see a podcast name on my mug? What do you mean? Podcast name? Huh? There are now Ori World Order mugs you can get. Don't buy the mug. It's so silly. But I do want to come up with good ideas for other future stuff. Leah's a definite coaster. Mole, I would evict you. Who are my other options? Mole, there's just so many. Ah, man, you want me to name names? Ah. That's a tough one. How about Cher? Me and Cher had some disagreements. Put Cher on the block. Or we don't have that many. House meeting. Oh, actually, no house meeting. Let's not. No. No house meeting. That is one thing, actually, I thought was actually a good move by Joseph. Everybody who tried to go into the rock room during the eviction, he followed them in and was like, you were not having this conversation alone. I actually do like that play. It didn't work out for him, but I think that is a good, like, don't let him have the conversation, right? Don't give him the room. Like, you go use that time for you, make your pitch, right? I think that's where he didn't be aggressive enough with that. Like, keep me, guys. Like, you know, they're a trio over there. Chemo, Tikor, and Rubina are always going to protect each other. They're always going to have each other's back. You got to take him out, or else those three are going to ride it to the end. Like, that's what he should have been saying in those final moments. But I did like that he tried to stop the group discussion on the vote. Never let him have a house meeting. Whatever you do. Never let him call a house meeting. That's crazy. Last minute noms. Where were we? I think she's a floater. She's playing multiple people. I think floater's probably where you would put her, but definitely hard on the manipulation side of it. Thanks, Uri. I agree. Leah's a manipulator, not a floater or a coaster. Oh no, Cher agrees with me now. Can we change your plans? I don't nominate Cher. Cher's on my side now. Don't nominate Cher. I repeat, do not nominate Cher anymore. Leah does have close allies, Quinn and Joseph, but she's not particularly loyal to them, voting Angela. Okay, you will go on the block as a pawn, not Stanley. Stanley, you see what Maul just did with you, putting you up as a pawn? Do you think the challenge will take Tucker, since he mentioned that would be that he would be on it as in his exit interviews? I think he was a lock, right? I don't know how long it's been this way. I think it used to be a year, but I don't know when they changed it. The new BB contracts that they have the house get signed are actually 2 years long. Like Taylor is still under contract from BB24 until the end of this season. So he's kind of locked in with CBS for a while. The challenge is all under Paramount and CBS. So he's more than able to do that. I could see him doing Survivor. I could see him doing The Amazing Race with Rubina. I think Tucker's going to be on our screens again very soon. Very soon. More win for the jugular on the host. More people need to intrude on conversations. 100%. Don't let them have it. Stick your nose in it. I think T-Core would get on the challenge considering his comp wins overall. I think he's a good lock for it. Speaking of, Challenge 40 has been awesome. Awesome this season. I really like the twist that if you win your elimination, you're naming the targets for the next week that could potentially go in the next elimination. So it kind of gives power to the people that were on the bottom. And I like that. It's been a lot of fun so far. If you haven't been watching Challenge 40, definitely check it out. So you're a spiteful game player noted. No, Cher, I turned it around. I put in a good word. Cher. I turned it around. I'm happy going to jury house early as long as there's cheese. Where are we at here? A whole charcuterie. I really want to see him on it. I think he would cruise control first season, but come on the following seasons to F some things up. I think he would do really well on that show. I think he's super likable. I think he would get thrown into the eliminations, but I think also like he wouldn't be afraid of going in the eliminations. I think he would do great. And yeah, RI Geek, that's what I want. I want Tucker on Traitors. We can't get it for 2 years. At the very least, we won't see it until after BB28. If Traitors is even still going at that point. But Tucker on the Traitors would be amazing. Amazing. Too late, Ori. You spoke too soon. Oh, no. Cher, you're going up. I'll get the votes for you, Cher. Don't worry. I wonder how Brooklyn felt that Angela taking off the block and she's still in the game. Crazy. Where we at here? Whatever Tucker is on, I will not watch. He's so obnoxious. You're not a fan? Not a fan? The structure of the Challenge 40 is lit. I love it. It's really good. Ori, you can get Maul back on her Monday evening Maulcast. All right, that's what we'll have to do. I'm gonna get her back. We're gonna flip this vote. We're gonna flip this vote, guys. Don't worry. Anyone saw Chelsea's live feed roasting Cam's feet all the time? It is constant. Tucker can go on the challenge, but he won't do as good as Big Brother. The people on the challenge are way different. The one thing I do like about the challenge, though, too, is multiple season-long story arcs, right? Like who was it who was saying it earlier? He wouldn't do it very well probably his first season, but following seasons, as he builds up more chemistry with the cast and the people on there, I think he would do really well. But yeah, it's a different beast. It's very clicky. And like I said, because it's got those multiple season storylines, people always coming back. The challenge is the one time where I think returning players work because it's kind of built into the show. Like it's kind of part of the overall entertainment value of like, oh man, Bananas and I don't know, what's her face? Cara Maria. They've got beef going back seasons now, right? Well, you don't really need that with all shows, right? It's built into the challenge. But when you take just like a show like The Traitors or Big Brother, it always feels like once you put in these returning players, it gets really choked. They all have like weird connections that are already built in, but it's not like part of the show. Like it's just this extra thing that's there. So that's why I really like newbies. My favorite season of The Traitors UK. It's all newbies. 2 seasons of it so far that were amazing. Highly, highly recommend it. At least until I say Riz again. Chelsea talks so much crap about Cam's feet. she does it a lot, and his socks and his underwear. Or we need the flip song back. It's a classic. We played it last night. We played it last night when the flip happened. I was shocked. Big Brother sucks, Corey versus Josh. That was funny. During the competition. That was a good one. You guys do know that it's possible to roast somebody's stinky feet and still like them. That's true. It's not a full-on hate, but man, it's funny when she does it. Or is there an all-girls alliance? There might be. We gotta be careful. There might be. No, in the game right now, I don't think so. There was an attempt to try and get an all-girls alliance going, but I don't think it's gonna work out. Especially with Angela probably going up today, she's gonna blow the whole thing up. She's gonna be like, "What about the girls' alliance?" Blah blah blah. Love the Traitors UK. It'd be cool if they did Fresh Meat 3. That would be fun. Thanks for the stream, Warrior. So much fun. Have a great weekend, all. Absolutely. We're going to be wrapping up here in just a second as well. Laurel is a twit. You ain't wrong. She's very entertaining, but man, she is something else. Dang, I was flipping between BB and football. Challenge favorites. CIR. Okay, guys, I have to go. My French horn lesson. Go have fun. Go get your music on in. Have a good time. Go learn Fly Eagles Fly for me. Learn that. Get that going for me. Not a Laurel fan either. Angela's Tears. Is that really who she is? Maybe. I think she plays it up a little bit. Bye, bestie. Can't watch the US Open because Disney sucks. Oh, no. I am going to wrap it up there, guys. But thank you all so much for joining me here on this Friday morning. I appreciate each and every one of you joining me, not just here on these live streams. We do them every Friday, every Thursday for the live eviction. We're here doing a watch party as well. Every single morning, we have the live feed updates. You can get all your info and everything that happened on the night before on the feeds. We are on our way to 15K. We're across the 14K mark. I think we can get it done by the end of this season. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Thank you guys all again so much for watching. Check out all the links to my socials. They're in the description, pinned comment as well. There's even a thing in the chat right now. You can check out the Twitch, the Twitter, the Discord. Discord's a lot of fun. Go join that. There's a bunch of us always chatting about BB. Ways to support the channel. You can check out the Throne, the Ori Fund. You can join the channel. But the easiest way, the simplest way to say thanks and to show your support, hit that thumbs up button. Thank you guys all again so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
What you should be, but you should be. I've got it here in days when it would have taken you years. And I'm not ashamed of myself. What you should be, but you should be. You should